Hey, folks. Hey, and welcome to the show. Yeah, I made the thumbnail, and then I went over to the AI song making thingy, and it spat out that. I like it. It's a bit cinematic. Try to have a scroll of the lyrics ready for next time, because this was done about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, it's Wednesday, and besides Monday, there's no court this week, and I should have made the recap Monday or Tuesday, but we got an what you call it, an AHOD situation at work, an all hands on deck situation. So, yeah, sometimes you just need to, okay. Yeah, so for the past 3 days, I've been doing more or less a 50-hour week. Yeah, but finally calmed down. So now it is time for the recap. Finally. And we have now left the bus incident on Monday. We left the bus shooting incident and went into the Donovan Thomas debacle. And so that is what we are here for today. Okay, welcome to the show. All right, so we are entering day 80. Which, well, in fact, is not day 80 if you remove the administrative days, the hearing days, and the late days, and the half days, and yeah. But we are at sidebar counter is at 182. Let's see what Monday brought us.
At this time, the state would like to put on the record that state.
Oh, sorry. Missed that one. $1.25. No rumble.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jury, good morning. Oh, that's come on. You can sound a little bit better than that. Okay, all right. Okay, much better. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and call our next witness, Mr. Brown, did you have an announcement you were going to make?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the state would like to put on the record that State's Exhibit 135 Echo Charlie has been switched, as the court is fully aware, to 135 Echo Delta, and that pertains to the 1990 phone records that we discussed last week.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolute horse shit.
Call your next witness.
Phone records.
Your Honor, at this time, the state calls to the stand Officer Clinton Hayes.
All right, summon Officer Hayes, please.
Officer Clinton.
Officer Hayes, good morning, sir.
Let's
I'm up
see
here. Everybody
who
does
this
that.
guy
When you
is.
get the witness stand, if you would be so kind and turn and face Sergeant Ingram to be sworn as a witness before you sit down, sir.
This is the first time we see him, and he kind of looks like Kyle Rittenhouse.
My name is Clinton Hayes, Clinton, last name Hayes, Hays.
All right, good morning, Officer Hayes.
Good morning.
Are you a boy?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a police officer with the Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Atlanta Police Department?
A little over 12 years.
And what's your official title?
Officer.
And what are your duties and responsibilities as an officer?
And blah, 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 blah. Yeah. We know you're a cop, and you're here to watch some photos.
Chris.
If you're that rotund, duck face is not a good look, sir. and you need a bigger beard to cover those shins. Hey, I've seen channels where they go hard on, but only the female witnesses and the looks. I don't care. I judge everybody because I'm good looking. I'm just kidding. I can mock heavy people because I am a heavy person. Okay?
Your Honor, I am now approaching the witness with State's Exhibits 2 Tango through, be clear for the record.
The two tango through 6 tango, and what else do you have, sir?
I don't mean to say it for clarity of the record, Your Honor, my apologies. 2 Tango through 9 Tango, which is also going to be subsequently followed by 13 Tango. That's okay. And I am now approaching the witness with said exhibits. Take a second, look at them, let me know if you have, after you've done so, you can look back up at me and you can continue.
Okay, hold on one second. Sir, you, Officer Hayes, you can look at the exhibits, just give us a second.
Okay.
Counsel, let me know when you're done looking at it. Which exhibit? Which? Oh, the one that's, which one? The one that's on the easel? Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, Counsel, have you had a chance to take a look at 9 through 9 tango and 13 tango?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. You may continue, Mr.
Officer Hayes, have you had a chance to look through State's Exhibits 2 Tango through 9 Tango followed by 13 Tango?
Yes, sir, I have.
Starting with State's 2 Tango through 6 Tango, what is depicted in those exhibits?
That's the exterior of Club Crucial during the day.
Is that the same Club Crucial that you worked at or near during January 6, 2015?
Yes, sir, it is.
And does the State's 2 Tango through 6 Tango fairly and accurately depict Club Crucial as you remember?
Yeah, like, I guess right now, or the awning is black now. It used to be red, and those buildings to the side of it, those like shacks, they weren't there during that night.
And Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit State's 2 Tango through 6 Tango to evidence.
Any objection, States 2 through 6 tango? Anyone else? All right, States 2 tango through 6 tango admitted, may be published as you see fit.
I want to turn your attention now to States 7 Tango through 9 Tango. What's depicted in those exhibits?
That's a map of Donnelly Hollow area, beat 109.
And do those maps fairly accurately depict the general area where Club Crucial is located?
Yes, sir, they do.
And Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to States 7 Tango to 9 Tango into evidence.
Any objection, States 7 through 9 tango?
No objection.
All right, States 7 through 9 tango admitted, may be published as you see fit.
Yes. And lastly, I want to turn your attention to States Exhibit 13 Tango. What is that in front of you today?
That is another, looks like up close map of Donnelly Hollow Club Crucial in the center.
And does it fairly and accurately depict the area of Club Crucial as you know it to be?
Yes, sir, it does.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit States 13 Tango into evidence, and of course, permission to publish subject to you.
Any objection to States 13 tango?
No objection.
All right, States 13 tango is admitted, may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I am now showing the defense counsel what has been previously marked as States Exhibit 13 Tango Alpha. And Your Honor, I'm going, with your permission, going to approach Officer Hayes with States Exhibit 13 Tango Alpha and ask a few questions very carefully with this. Officer Hayes, what is it that I have in front of you right now?
That is a map of Donnelly Hollow with the Club Crucial.
Is it fair to say that this is just an enlarged portion of States 13 Tango?
Yes, sir.
And does it fairly and accurately reflect everything contained therein in States 13 Tango?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is it fair to say that this is just an enlarged version of that same exhibit?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, the state.
I stand the objection.
I'm sorry.
That was Mr. Steele. Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to request to publish states 13 Tango Alpha for demonstrative purposes.
All right. Any objection to states 13 Tango for demonstrative purposes?
No objection.
All right, and submitted for purposes of demonstrative purposes only. Can we publish it, so it can be seen, so everybody can see it, sir?
Sure thing, Your Honor. We can utilize the screen as
That
well.
would be great. Councilors, you're welcome to relocate around if you want to. That's your call.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, now showing what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 9. Excuse me. And just a brief indulgence, Your Honor. Officer Hayes, what are we looking at here on, if you turn to the left, you can see utilize the screen.
Oh, okay.
On the left, yes, if you turn, you roll off of there. What are we looking at on the screen that is next to you on States Exhibit 9 Tango?
That's a map of Donnelly Hollowell and the area of Club Crucial.
And if that board is actually interactive, you can touch it.
Okay.
And draw, excuse me, using that pencil. Can you circle where you see Club Crucial?
Yeah, right. Right there.
Okay, and what is that orange street that runs in front of Club Crucial?
That's Donnelly Hollowell. It used to be called Bankhead Highway.
And I am now showing you States Exhibit 2 Tango.
Oh, look, a road.
Just one second.
Hey, dear. Oh, by the way,
And Officer Hayes, what are we looking at here? On the screen to your left, yes.
we are looking at a building. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello, GD. Everybody say hello to GD, my first and best moderator. And hello, Diogo, Rothman, Ghostery, Reform Convict. Who else have we here? We have Ghostery and Christine. And I saw somebody else earlier. Gwendolyn is here. Tia Marie. I saw Mike. And Toy is also here, and a bunch of other people. Remember, hit the thumbs up, helps the channel, blah, blah, blah. All the YouTube things. All the YouTube things. All right, let's continue.
That's Club Crucial.
And does that look like the club? Does Club Crucial appear as it did to you in 2015?
Yes, sir.
All right, and now turning your attention to what has been previously admitted as States Exhibit 3 Tango. What are we looking at here?
That's a side view of Club Crucial.
And is there anything different about this picture of Club Crucial that was not there in States Exhibit 2 Tango?
Yeah, the awning was red back then. I believe there was a different front sign, and those sheds on the side were not there.
Okay, if you zoom in on this side. On that sign, can you read what is in red?
Yes, Crucial.
Okay. And if you keep it zoomed in a bit, can you, as you did with the previous exhibit, could you circle what buildings you were indicating that weren't there in 2015?
Sure.
Okay. All right. And if you will erase that. All right. We can zoom out this night just a bit. In front of Club Crucial, do you see any other things that weren't there in 2015?
Yeah, those gates weren't there as well. Those front gates right there.
Do you know why those gates were placed up? Objection, false speculation.
I stand in objection.
If you zoom back in this night on the side.
I almost did he sustain an objection? This judge? Did he? Wow. He must have worn his diapers backwards today or Monday.
Please. Do you see any numbers on that sign on the pole?
Yeah, I do. On the pole, it says 2517.
Is that the address to Club Crucial?
Yes, sir.
Now showing you what has been previously admitted as States 4 Tango. Okay, is it fair to say that this is a closer view of the shed buildings that you described in the State's prior exhibit?
Yes, sir.
And using this exhibit, can you locate where you were positioned as you were doing directed patrol outside of Club Crucial on January 6, 2015?
Yeah, I'm going to call that like the northeast gravel parking lot. I was kind of farther back in that parking lot, just watching the cars and watching everybody as they filtered came out of the club.
Okay, and was your patrol vehicle backed in or?
Yeah, I was parked and I was looking out to Donnelly Hollowell when I was parked.
Is there any reason that you were parked at that particular time?
They had a bunch of officers up front. I don't recall how many, but on the other side of Donnelly Hollowell, directly in front of Crucial, there's a like a fenced in area with a sidewalk. So they always had officers parked in front of there. So since there were officers parked in front of there, I wanted to get on the side lot and get my lights on to get some visibility out there.
Now showing you what has been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 5 Tango. What are we looking at here at this angle, Officer Hayes?
That's the front of Club Crucial.
Okay. And can you describe the environment outside the front of the club as you remember to be on January 6, 2015?
Yeah, that parking lot would be filled with cars. It'd be filled with people filtering out, and it'd just be very, very busy.
Okay. Were there anyone parking the vehicles?
They'd have parkers, if I remember correctly, there's a little plaza to the left of that. So they'd have parkers come out there and like kind of valet their cars in that vehicle. But yeah, there would be armed security out there. And people parking cars.
Utilizing State's Exhibit 5 Tango, can you tell the jurors where other officers may have been positioned at that time while you were working directed patrol? Yeah,
on the other side of the street. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's a business and there's a fence around it and there's a sidewalk. So they'd be like vehicle or patrol vehicles parked up and down that sidewalk. There'd also, we put a vehicle on right at the intersection of Church Street and Donnelly Hollowell. That's directly across from Club Crucial there because cars would be parked up in.
No, you're fine. I'm looking for a point. And if you can point on the screen above, the screen, or you can State's Exhibit 13 Tango Alpha, either one suffices, but can you show where the officers would have been?
Okay, I didn't know that. Atlanta is the exotic dancer capital of the world, where the clubs are well known for some of the best stakes. I will be in Atlanta around August 14 or 15. I could do a tour of Atlanta. Yeah, let's move on.
Based on your recent testimony.
Like I said, that's that business, and there's the fence. So patrol vehicles would be parked along this sidewalk right here. We'd also get a bunch of people parking up and down Church Street, and we get auto break-ins there. So we usually have a car parked on top of Church Street, and every once in a while, a rove up and down, just to make sure nobody was breaking the cars.
I'm going to hand you a marker, and utilizing State's Exhibit 13 Tango Alpha. What I would like for you to do is to mark where your patrol vehicle would have been.
Sure.
At the time.
On this thing?
And for the record, Your Honor, I would like to say that we're going to have Officer Hayes mark an H where his vehicle would have been on the night that he was doing directed patrol on January 6, 2015. So you may mark that exhibit, yes, sir.
I'd be in this general area right here. Right here.
Okay. I would like, using that same marker, don't close it because you're still going to use it. For the record, would you please mark with a P1, P2, P3, etc., where other officers would have been stationed at the time that you were doing directed patrols on January 6, 2015.
Okay, well, I don't know how many officers were out there per se.
The general area where they were. Okay.
We'll do P1, we'll do at least 3 out here, P2, P3, and then we have one right here, P4.
And the P4 address, street, what street is that?
That's Church Street at the intersection of Donnelly Hollowell.
Okay. And you may reclaim your.
Okay, they are talking about streets. That's the club, that's the street. This is just foundational for what shows up later. when he starts to address the actual Donovan Thomas, where the argument or whatever supposedly started, and the next day or what. It's so confusing because why do they talk about that club? I don't know yet. But me being confused about what the prosecutors are after is it's not a new thing. Because after 6 months of this scam of a trial, I have yet to see a single piece of convincing evidence thrown towards the defense.
Yeah, I got terrible
It's
handwriting.
all good, I understand. Would you, for the purposes of the record, place these blue push pins where you mark P1, P2, P3, P4? I want you to be careful because this board could cheat.
They spent $10 million on this trial, but they can't afford a good board that can hold a pin.
And hold 1 second, I'm gonna ask you to place this gold push pin where you would have been positioned on January 6, 2015. You would have been ready to go. All right, you may reclaim your seat. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do you recall if during directed control on January 6, 2015, any stops were made?
Yeah, I heard my lieutenant, which his unit number is 1191, pull out on a traffic stop of a vehicle that just left Crucial, heading eastbound down Donnelly Hollowell. I heard him pull out on radio. I also saw his blue lights click on, and he pulled over a red Dodge Sport Utility vehicle, Durango.
Okay, all right. I would like, for the purposes of the record, if you would take this green marker, and don't be afraid to use it, mark it good. The path that you saw that vehicle leave Club Crucial on January 6th to the point where it stopped.
Okay. Let's say left here. We got to pull over somewhere around here.
Let's actually use a black marker for that. All right, see if we can get to show that. Okay, all right, you may see it. And with this red push pin, before you see it, with this red push pin, would you indicate where the vehicle that was stopped was stopped? Okay. All right. How many occupants were in the vehicle?
4.
And you recall the names of the occupants?
Yeah, the driver was named Alexis Greer. The passenger was named Jerika Hauser. The back driver's side passenger was Martinez Arnold, and the back passenger side passenger was DeMonte Kendricks.
That's impressive. Taken that from memory from 8 years ago. 9 years ago. No, we know he was prepped extensively because there's no way.
And why was this?
Why does his breathing get picked up by the microphone better than his actual voice?
Red dot.
Now, we've seen this trial for quite some time now. It's not that often that you actually hear their breathing into the microphone, but this guy does. And if your breathing is so heavy that a microphone picks it up this much, time to maybe go for a jog.
German truck stopped. Oh, yeah.
Objection called for speculation. He's not using it.
I'm understanding the objection. You can rephrase, sir.
After the vehicle was stopped, can you describe the encounter?
Yeah, my Lieutenant Hewitt is the one who pulled the vehicle over.
Hold on, let him ask a couple questions first.
Yes. You're on the outside.
Yes,
His actual effect on this.
I'm overruled the objection.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question.
Overruled.
Okay. You may continue.
Okay, my lieutenant pulled the vehicle over, and then my Sergeant Murphy, got behind the lieutenant, and I pulled behind Sergeant Murphy.
And,
Did I miss the
What if
probable
anything took place
cause
after you
somewhere?
got,
Why did they actually pull it over?
Lieutenant Hewitt approached on the driver's side, made contact with the driver, Alexis Greer. Me and Sergeant Murphy approached on the passenger side, and when I approached, I smelled raw marijuana coming from the cabin of the vehicle.
And what, if anything,
I smelled raw marijuana after they opened it. So, okay, so that is the probable cause. They believed there was marijuana, they opened the car door, and magically they smelt it. That's standard police work. If you want to pull somebody over, claim you have a super nose that can smell marijuana from your closed car to their closed cars with space in between. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of things that are so incredibly stupid with the US justice system, and allowing a cop who can barely breathe to claim they can smell raw marijuana. No. Now, and what is raw marijuana? That's a plant. It's just a word.
took place after you received that smell of the odor of raw marijuana?
I was checking the occupants in the vehicle. I noticed that DeMonte Kendricks was being very fidgety in the back seat, moving around, moving his hands. After we smelled marijuana, we pulled everybody out of the vehicle, put them in front of their car, and standing by the sidewalk, and had.
They did. You look suspicious because that many young black men in a car must be suspicious. And lo and behold, you smell the smell of a medicinal plant that has been around for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years.
Other officers who were on scene directing patrol and watching them, and then Sergeant Murphy then searched the vehicle.
And what, if anything, came about of that search?
I observed marijuana strewn in the area, like on the floorboards and stuff, where Mr. Kendrick.
Why the flaming F would marijuana be strewed across the floor? That's called weed. Not weed, but dry grass that gets stuck under your shoes.
Was sitting,
This
and
is so stupid.
Sergeant Murphy found a gun in the back flap of the passenger side seat, you know, where you keep maps and stuff. He found a silver Smith & Wesson semi-automatic handgun.
Basis. Oral, sir.
I want to go back to you getting out of the position that you were patrolling. And
Yeah.
Did you activate your emergency lights?
Yes, I did. I put on my blue lights when I got behind them.
And after the firearm and the marijuana was located within the vehicle, what, if anything, else took place after that point?
Sergeant Murphy then went to detain Mr. Kendricks. Mr. Kendricks was wearing like a red and black leather jacket with shoulder straps. And I remember Sergeant Murphy went to grab on the shoulder straps to detain him. And
oh, Dave, this cop smelled marijuana from his closed car to the other closed car. So they pulled them over. They opened the door, and then they smelled raw marijuana. And lo and behold, they also saw marijuana all over the floorboards, allegedly. And then
Mr. Kendricks took off, fled on foot.
Now I want to go back and ask you another set of questions that I should have asked before. Can you tell the jury if you remember the windows being up or down on the side when you approached the vehicle?
They would have been down because I smelled the marijuana.
And where was everyone located as the vehicle was being searched?
When we took everybody's out, we put them on the sidewalk in front of the Durango and had officers watching them while we were searching the vehicle.
And I heard you mention that it was a Durango. Earlier you testified it was a Dodge Journey.
I just remember it was an SUV. I'm pretty sure it was a Durango.
You mentioned this characterizes as prior testimony.
Oh, sir.
Are you sure?
Objection, ask and answer.
I sustain the objection.
After the, utilizing State's Exhibit 13, I am going to give you a red marker.
Sure.
13 Tango Alpha, and I'll ask you to rise from the stand. And using this marker, I would like for you to draw the path that Mr. Kendrick took as he took flight from the location where the vehicle was stopped.
Skipping ahead a bit because that's not interesting.
For the record.
I object to him being shown that document this morning.
Oh, your basis, sir.
What's the reason that he's being shown?
Yeah, I'm kind of unsure about that too, counsel.
Your Honor,
Bless you.
at this time, we're refreshing his recollection.
There's been no question to refresh his recollection on.
Did you indicate in your report that you wrote for this case that the vehicle was a Dodge Durango?
Yes.
Objection.
Basis.
Hearsay, Judge.
I'll rule the objection.
Are you certain?
Ask and answer.
I'm pretty sure what I think happened was the vehicle.
That calls for speculation. Hold on. Remember, one at a time. All right. So I think we had Mr. Matthews and I think we had Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp, what was the base for your objection, sir?
I think it's speculation.
I sustained that already. Okay.
He hadn't had a chance to answer the question before he was interrupted.
It does call for speculation. The way you posited the question did call for that. Okay.
Off. You whining little. You asked a stupid question. He made a speculative answer. Speculation, sustained, move on. Judge, can we get a sidebar, please? God, Jesus Christ. But that brings us to what the sidebar counter 183. Oh, Jesus. And they have a sidebar that is quite quick.
I think that, there was enough officers on scene that we didn't really feel we had to cuff them at that point.
You found weed and you allegedly found a gun. And okay. That doesn't really add up, does it? Or is it because you knew it was an illegal stop and even if you brought it forward, they would be let go, so I can't be bothered. But here you are testifying about it.
Earlier you stated that marijuana was found in the vehicle. Was marijuana found anywhere else?
Yeah, marijuana was found in 3 different spots on the vehicle. He's a lieutenant now, but Officer Butler searched Mr. Kendricks after he got him in custody and found.
I sustain the objection.
Myself, Mr.
Remember, one at a time, okay? No, it's one at a time, Mr. Weinstein, okay? All right, because remember, Miss Weaver has to be able to take you all down.
I understand, Your Honor.
No, you don't, because you keep objecting in harmony. So,
I can't do it.
okay, well, why don't you all look at one another and see whether or not that would be.
No, they can't. Oh, this pisses me off to no end. Judge, you decided this was a combined trial. Each defendant have their own lawyer. They don't have time to oh, I wonder if anybody else will object. No, their responsibility is to their client and that client alone. You have to live with it, Glanville. You have to live with it. It's your cluster F. They don't have to do jack shit about what you claim. This one at a time. That's a courtesy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, who rise first and then see who's going to object.
Your Honor, if I may respond, the impact of the statement is affecting those.
I'm overrule the objection still. I mean, I'll sustain the objection. I'm still going to sustain it.
Okay. Without saying anything anyone said, can you describe what was found in the vehicle?
Objection, asked and answered.
That was Mr. Short and Mr. Weinstein. He didn't say anything. He just said objection. All right. So,
Yeah, here's the thing. If they wait, he gets to answer. That's why then when his question is done, objection. Immediately. You don't have time, because if you don't object immediately, you might get information out from a witness you don't want to, and it's improper and whatever's.
so was there a basis for your objection, sir?
Yes, I was at this point. Because of your.
All right, I'm going to sustain the objection.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
He has personal knowledge of this. This is not objection that hasn't been established.
No, it hasn't. So I'm going to sustain the objection.
Were you present during the search of the vehicle?
Yes, I was.
Were you able to observe the officers as they searched the direction of the meeting?
Yes.
I'm overrule the
Oh,
objection.
sorry.
Anything else? Okay. All right, go ahead.
You can answer that.
See, prosecutor, I don't care what your name is. It was that easy to just lay foundation, follow-up question, done. Instead, you waste time because you're bad at your job.
Last question.
Yes, I observed the vehicle being searched.
What, if anything, did you observe removed from the vehicle after the search?
A Smith & Wesson firearm in the passenger side back flap.
Okay. Is that it?
And marijuana was strewn all over the floorboards.
Okay. And about the firearm that was found, to whom did it belong?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection as to the form of the question.
Okay, did you perform an inquiry about whose firearm that was found in the vehicle it belonged to?
Yes, I did. I ran the
Overrule, sir.
gun on NCIC to establish if it was stolen, and it was in fact was.
What is NCIC?
It's a National Crime Information Center.
Everything that this is very, very interesting. Except one thing. The charges were dropped. Ta-da!
You can run people for warrants. You can run vehicles to see if they're stolen, or you can run firearms to see if they're stolen.
And was there a serial number associated with that firearm that you located?
Yes, sir, there was.
And do you recall what that serial number was?
I don't recall offhand. I'd have to see my report.
And at this time, I am approaching the witness who has already been shown to defense counsel previously as 14 Tango Romeo, and
Sure. Was it 13?
I mean 14 Tango.
13 or 14?
14.
All right, 14 Romeo. Have you all had a chance to look at that?
Yes.
Counsel? Okay, all right.
Don't worry for me, but when you looked up, as your memory refresh, I'll further ask questions.
All right, I got it.
Okay, what is that serial number?
David Whiskey Edward 8593.
And do you know what jurisdiction it's going on?
Henry County.
Do you know the date associated with the theft?
I'll sustain that.
Right, he performed an inquiry search, he was not necessarily personally. In the database, the NCIC database.
Is that reference in his report?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll overrule the objection.
You may answer the question.
Yeah, it was stolen out of Henry County on 10/8/2013.
Who was the officer to locate the firearm?
Sergeant Murphy,
Who was seated closest to the firearm inside the red Dodge Charger?
Mr. Kendricks.
Objection called for yourself.
Overruled, sir.
And is that noted in your report?
Yes.
Okay. What was done with the firearm after it was recovered?
Officer Butler put it in evidence at our evidence locker.
And was that firearm ever returned to the rightful owner?
Yeah, a couple months later, I was contacted by the owner of the firearm, and I told him he has to get a disposition of the case from Fulton County Courts, and I would release it. He then brought me a disposition, and I changed it from evidence to property, and he came and picked up the firearm.
And
then what? Charges was dropped?
just briefly.
Yes, sir.
Jesus Christ, he breathes heavily.
Was anyone charged with the possession of the firearm, the stolen firearm?
Yes, Mr. Kendricks was,
Why was he charged with it?
because he was sitting the closest to it.
That's
And-
not enough. If you find something in the what you call it, the back pocket behind the, you have to prove. I mean, you have his fingerprints. Did you take fingerprints? Did you do anything? Did you ask him? Whatever's. But you have to make more of a connection than there was a gun in the car and that person sat closest to it. Not enough. Do your I mean, it's not hard to do your job. It really isn't. It shouldn't be. And yet there you are, a veteran cop, looking like a fat Kyle Rittenhouse.
Did you see him searched prior to being taken in formal custody?
No.
Excuse me.
What, if anything, happened with the remaining passengers in the vehicle?
Mrs. Greer's purse was left open, and they found 3.1 grams of marijuana in her purse. She was cited for marijuana less than an.
Isn't that convenient? Oh, we promise her purse was left open. By whom? Did you? Where's the body cam? Oh, yeah. Atlanta didn't have body cam until 2019 or 2020 or something like that. No, you.
Ounce taken to city jail. The front passenger had an open cup of some type of alcohol, and she was just cited for open container and let go. And then the back driver's side.
Another thing I don't get with the United States, your open container thing. I mean, we have an alcohol sale monopoly here in Sweden. You can only buy 4% alcohol beverages and over at a specific spot. But I can get wasted in a car. I can more or less chug from a whiskey bottle in a car as long as I'm not driving it. How is this? Where's the freedom? Hey, USA. Yeah. In Sweden, as long as I don't drive, I can chug a vodka bottle straight up if I want to in Sweden. All the passengers. That's why we have designated drivers to the party and from the party, because we start early and then we go to the party and then we keep on and then they drive us home and then they shove us off, hopefully inside the door. Our tolerance is we count differently. Let's see it. Blood alcohol level, I believe 0.2 or 0.02. I don't know. You have different units than we do.
passenger, Martinez Arnold, had a warrant out of the city of Atlanta, and he was taken to Fulton County Jail.
When you say, let go, speaking of the front passenger.
Copy of charges.
Was she free to leave the city?
Yeah, she was given a summons to return to court, and that was it.
Was, who was the driver name?
Alexis Greer.
Was she taken into full custody or?
Yeah, she was taken to city jail and cited for marijuana possession less than an ounce.
Just a brief note, John.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. This is all he was there for. He spotted a car. They pulled it over because they smelt marijuana, allegedly, and they found a gun and some pot, and somebody drank from a cup. Jesus Christ. But let's hear from
Cross. Mr. Weinstein.
cross-examination from Mr. Weinstein.
Good morning, Officer Hayes. Good to see you again.
Good morning, sir.
I just want to ask you just a few questions about your testimony so far. You testified that you saw a Dodge Durango and you drew the path of the Dodge Durango.
Yes.
Did you see the Dodge Durango throughout the course of that path?
No, I heard the vehicle. I heard like the siren to pull it over. I heard my sergeant or my lieutenant come over the radio with a stop, and when I came out, it was already stopped.
So how did you know to draw that red path of the Durango if you didn't see it?
Because there's an entrance and an exit to it, like entrance, and I just kind of speculated.
What? You kind of speculated? Then strike that. Jesus Christ.
You testified that after the Dodge Durango got pulled over, that you saw Mr. Kendrick acting fidgety in the back seat. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In 2015, when you pulled him over, how long had you been a police officer?
About 3 years.
In your experience during those previous 3 years, or even up till now, is it your experience that when you pull over a car and there's an African American in the back seat and it's 2 a.m, that can I finish my question? I'm sorry, I'll stop.
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Do you frequently find people
Yep. Driving while black.
fidgety in the back seat when they're pulled over?
Sometimes, but not really. You can tell, like if somebody's acting real fidgety, but most of the time, no.
What the fuck?
You testified
is
that an officer, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which officer, tased Mr. Kendrick.
Yes, sir.
Did you see that happen?
No, I didn't see it happen. I came up after.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick in the back seat of the Durango?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you assist removing Mr. Kendrick from the Durango?
I assist removing occupants. I don't know if I believe I assisted with Mr. Kendricks, but I remember pulling people out of the car.
You also testified about what was found in the search of Mr. Kendrick.
Yes.
Did you participate in that search of Mr. Kendrick?
I didn't like actually go in, but I was watching Sergeant Murphy search.
it?
I didn't actually go put my hands on anything.
Okay. You also testified about the path that Mr. Kendrick took when he left the scene.
Yeah.
Did you see him throughout that entire path, or
I don't-
gathering that information from others?
No, I saw. Sergeant Murphy grabbed onto his shoulder, his shoulder strap. He ran from the shoulder strap broke. He ran, and then he took off eastbound. I'm just slow. I didn't get up there in time, but I saw him running up
I
there.
understand. I'm not too fast myself.
Yeah.
All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further examiners? All right, Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Matthews.
Officer Hayes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just a few questions for you.
Sure.
Concerning this firearm, did you actually take possession of the firearm and deliver it to the locker?
No, Officer Butler did.
Okay. Do you know if that particular weapon was ever dusted for any fingerprints?
Not that I recall. I don't think it was.
Okay. Do you know if that weapon was ever, I guess the word would be, was it ever searched, or was there any DNA evidence testing that was done for it?
No, I don't think so. What happened was when you turn them in, I think the ATF does something with them, like to see if
I
fire it, to see
think-
if it was used in a prior crime. But I didn't follow up on that. But that's all I know.
Okay. So to your knowledge today, as you sit here, can you tell this jury whether or not there was ever any direct testing of the weapon for any linkage to any single individual that was in that car?
Oh, rule the objection. You can answer.
No, sir.
Okay. And you never saw Mr. Kendrick with that weapon in his hand, did you?
No.
And there's no other officer out there that actually saw that weapon in Mr. Kendrick's hand, correct?
No, sir.
This is bad guys. We stopped them, and there was a gun and marijuana. Boo, boogly, 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 boo. Bad people. That's it. That is why he's there.
And there was more than one person in the backseat of that vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't locate any bullets or anything of that nature on Mr. Kendrick, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't locate a holster or anything of that nature on
No.
Mr. Kendrick, correct?
I stand the objection.
Do you know whether or not there were any holsters located on Mr. Kendrick?
No, there were none. I would put it in the report.
Do you know whether or not there were any magazines or anything of that nature located on Mr.
No,
Kendrick?
sir.
And did you or anyone photograph the firearm?
Not that I recall. No.
Okay, all right. Thank you. No
Thank
further
you.
questions.
Your Honor, may I ask one more question?
Any further examiners? Okay, all right, now.
Thank you. I'll be brief.
You mentioned arresting Mr. Kendrick for a theft by receiving charge, correct?
Yes, sir.
That charge was later dropped, correct?
I don't know.
I stand the objection.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
You can't.
Yeah. They brought on this cop because he was the prosecution brought him on just to make some statements, but he has no clue whatever happened later. It's not a lead investigator. It's no nothing. He was just a cop going, oh, that's interesting. Because if they actually put on the cops that did something, the cross-examination would be more interesting. But this is only to show, ooh, defendant's bad.
Mr. Sharp? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Officer, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You wrote reports in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, you wrote a report about when I believe it was Mr. James Sanders wanted his gun back, correct?
Yes, I'd have to look at the supplement, but I think that I'm just going to take your word for it. That was his name.
Well, if you need to look at the supplement, feel free to.
I don't have it in front of me. So.
I approach with my computer here.
Oh, I got it right here. I got it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. Yeah.
And Mr. Sanders wanted his gun back, correct?
Yes, sir.
And initially you told him it was evidence, so he would have to wait till the case was over,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
And you contacted the district attorney's office.
Yeah, I didn't remember that part, but yes.
And they informed you that they were not proceeding with the gun charges against Mr. Kendrick. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
They had dropped the case.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So he did know the charges was dropped. Ha!
Any further defense examiners? Okay, any redirect?
Yes, sir. Earlier, you were asked, Officer Hayes, a few questions by Counsel for Mr. Kendrick, Mr. Weinstein. If you saw the search of his client, Mr. Kendrick,
Yes.
did you see Mr. Weinstein's client have anything that was illegal on his possession, on his person?
Like after he was detained or during the search of the vehicle?
What Mr. Weinstein?
Yeah, he had a marijuana on his right jacket pocket.
He had a joint in his breast pocket. Insert Home Alone face. Jesus Christ.
Done with that marijuana after Mr. Weinstein's client, Mr. Client was searched and that's fine.
Officer Butler put it into evidence.
Mr. Weinstein also asked you about the half that was taken by his client.
Yeah.
He left from Club Crucial, from in front of Club Crucial. Were you standing where he darted off?
Yeah, I watched Sergeant Murphy grab him and I saw him run off.
And with respect to the vehicle.
So what initiated this
spoke
then?
about, seeing
I would be
after-
because that actually haven't been testified to. What initiated this thing? Was it, oh, black guys in a car? If you don't testify to anything else, then I assume you pull them over because black guys in a car.
got to its location.
Yeah.
Is there more than one way to get out of Club Crucial?
Well, there's an entrance and an exit.
Witness is using stakes 13 Tango Alpha. And you can use this point, please.
There's an entrance and an exit. Usually people enter here and they would also have people exit out here. Because it, like I said before, this it's packed with cars, so it's hard to get in and out of there.
So, is it fair to say it's natural that they would have left out of the exit portion that you're on?
I sustain the objection.
Jesus Christ.
Earlier, you were
Let
asked
the
by Mr.
poor cop
Weinstein,
go.
Excuse me, by Mr. Matthews.
So he can go for a jog.
You saw Mr. Kendricks with the firearm on his person. Do you remember those set of photos?
Yes, sir.
Did you see where the firearm was located prior to him being charged with that firearm?
I sustain the objection.
Where was Mr. Arnold seated?
Mr. Arnold was seated.
I sustain the objection.
If you redirect, young prosecutor, I don't care what your name is, it either has to be something that came up in cross-examination and things you haven't asked before. It's not that difficult. Jesus Christ. Stop wasting time.
And
Mommy, what should I ask? Oh, little boy, you should ask this and this and this. Maybe it will work. Or you can nag the judge until he relents. That is exactly what I believe is the conversation between Miss Love and the young prosecutors whose name I don't care what it is.
now sure the defense counsel has been previously marked as to states 12 Tango.
For fuck's sake. Fork, YouTubes. I said fork. Nothing else. I said knife, spoon, fork. Nothing else. Oh, geez, stop breathing into the microphone.
The witness was previously marked as states 12 Tango Alpha. Excuse me, 12 Tango.
All right, sir.
I've handed the witness states 12 Tango. I want you to look at that. Is that the Diamante Kendrick that you arrested on January 6, 2015?
Yes, sir.
And do you see that Diamante Kendrick sitting here next to his attorney?
Yes, sir, I
Can
do.
you identify him by an article code?
He's wearing a tan sport jacket.
At this time, Brian, the state now moves to the state's exhibit 12 Tango.
Your Honor, relevance.
Can I see 12 Tango, please?
Also for
Here's that. This is the infuriating part with the RICO trial. Even if the charges was dropped, now 9 years later, they can bring it up as an underlying or overt act under the RICO charge, and it's stupid. Oh, and by the way, that gun charge and that pot charge, the statute of limitations are long gone, so they shouldn't. But since within the RICO charge, is the unaliving, and the unaliving has no statute of limitations, then they apply everything to that statute, which is also infuriatingly stupid.
Any further objection, sir? All right, it's admitted over objection, maybe published.
Thank you.
We are not published, the state's 12 tangle. And do you see that individual seated in this courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
No further questions.
Anything further, Mr. Weinstein? Mr. Matthews? Mr. Sharp? Any other examiner? All right, any further redirect?
Nothing further to say.
All right, at this point, may Officer Hayes be permanently temporarily excused a witness?
Temporarily, Your Honor.
Officer Hayes, we're going to temporarily excuse your witness. That means you're subject to, hold on, you're subject to being recalled. We'll give you plenty of notice or advance notice of when you need to come back, but don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys.
This should have been a 5-minute testimony, including cross-examination. Instead, it was, see, we are at 119. They started with him at, he's been on the stand for an hour for a 5-minute testimony.
In this case, okay?
Okay, yeah. So I'm good for the day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. You may
Thanks,
be
sir.
excused. All right,
Your Honor, may we report with
yes.
one member of the defense? Yes, you do.
And look at that. It's a sidebar, which makes it sidebar counter 184.
All right, counsel, how about we, and ladies and gentlemen, of the jury, how about we take a comfort break, about 10 minutes, and then we'll see where the day leads us from there. All right, all rise.
Let's see, 10 minutes, 120, 130, 135, 140. So a 20-minute, 10-minute break, as per usual. Yeah, dog walk break.
You know. I'm just trying to gauge, you know. All right, when y'all come on up.
Oh. And directly after, let's see, are they all showing up? Yes, they are. And directly after, sidebar counter 185. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're an hour and 20 minutes in, and this is the third sidebar of the day.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now calls Lieutenant Anthony Volley of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
All right, summon Lieutenant Volley, please. Lieutenant Volley, good morning, sir. If you please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you'd be so kind to turn and face Sergeant Ingram and be sworn as a witness, please, sir.
Yes, sir. First name's Anthony, Anthony. Last name is Volley, B as in Victor, Olley.
Good morning, Lieutenant Volley. Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where are you employed?
Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
And what do you do for work?
I am the jail security commander at the Fulton County Jail.
And how long have you been employed with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
Oh, really? So you work at the jail where people die, where people get eaten alive by bedbugs, where people don't get medical attention when they have an acute medical situation? You work at that jail? Do you go to church on Sundays, Mr. Volley? Proud of your work at Fulton County Jail? Fulton County Jail has 3,300 people. 2022, I believe there were 14 people who died in that jail alone. Rikers Island has 100,000 people in it. The same year, 2022, 18 people perished. If Fulton County Jail was the size of Rikers Island, they would have, let's see here. Jesus Christ, now I have to count. What? $33 times the amount of dead scaled up. That would be 14 times 33. 467 if Fulton County Jail was the same size as Rikers Island. If almost 500 inmates per year died on Rikers Island, don't you think there would be some inquiry about why so many people die? I would assume so. But in Fulton County Jail, they don't care. And remember, Rikers are convicted people. Fulton County Jail are presumed innocent.
Coming up on 20 years.
And were you employed anywhere prior to your time with Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir, I was.
What did you do?
I worked for Georgia State Patrol,
Oh,
14 years.
and what did you do in your capacity at the Georgia State Patrol?
I was assigned to the governor at the governor's mansion. I was assigned there for 6.5. Then I went back to headquarters. I worked the Olympics and then went back to headquarters again.
And turning back to your, and when did you join the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
In 2005.
Okay. And what's your official title?
I'm a lieutenant.
Okay. And as a part of your duties and responsibilities at Fulton County Sheriff's Office, do you also handle booking and release?
Yes, sir.
What about booking photos?
Yes, sir.
What is a booking photo?
Booking photo is when a person comes into the Fulton County Jail. That's our tracking, where we take a photo of the individual.
Okay. And how does the Fulton County Sheriff's Office take booking photos?
We use a camera that's connected to the Odyssey system that holds all the data.
What is
Yeah, sorry. Rikers is a jail. I was thinking about that big prison. I don't remember what that prison is, but I'm doing the Shane Kendall case where they do that comparison with a prison who has 100,000 inmates. So it's Rikers is a jail. Sorry, my mistake. Thank you for correcting me.
Odyssey is a system that manages all persons who's arrested that comes in for its booking and release.
And are booking photos taken at or near a time a person is booked into the Fulton County Jail?
That's correct, sir.
And are they kept in the regular course of business by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
That's correct, sir.
And can you please describe for the jury where pictures are stored by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
Okay, so in the Odyssey management system, it's found under the jelly. The jelly is anyone who's been booked in and have a photo that's taken. It's located.
Fun fact, in Swedish trials, you do not show booking photos because they are deemed to be more prejudicial than probative. Because often people look their worst in booking pictures. So those are never shown at trial.
The Odyssey system that manages all the criminal activity, criminal warrants that comes into the jail.
Okay. What is a booking and release record?
A booking and release record is a record that's kept with the data showing when a person comes in and when a person exits, and how did they exit, what was the final result.
Are the arrest and release dates recorded at or near the time the person was booked in or released from custody?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And are booking photos and booking and release information all maintained in the same database?
Yes, sir.
And what is that database?
It's called Odyssey.
Are all such documents maintained in the regular course of business of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
I am now showing the defense what has been previously marked as states 12 Tango, 10 Tango, and 11 Tango.
Just so you see. That thing is-
Staring at evidence.
This will be 12 Tango Alpha, just for correction purposes. And I'm making such change on the actual exhibit.
All right, sir.
And I'm now approaching the witness with what has been previously marked as states 10, 11, and 12, well, 10, 11 Tango, and 12 Tango Alpha. Lieutenant Volley, when you have had a chance to look at what's been placed in front of you, would you kind of just look up at
Yes, sir.
have you had the opportunity to review the state's exhibits that have been placed in front of you prior to today?
Yes, sir, I have.
And what is state's exhibit 10 Tango?
Okay. The 10 is the actually booking and release data, information that shows when the person physically came in, when the person exit. Also, it gives a physical description of the individual. Also, it shows 2 photos.
And how are you familiar with that? Have you reviewed that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that state's exhibit 10 Tango in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you last reviewed it?
Yes, sir.
Turn your attention now to states 11 Tango, which is in front of you at this time. What is states 11 Tango?
Okay, 11 shows the defendant face to the right as a photo was taken.
And have you had a chance to review that exhibit, which is states 11 Tango Alpha prior to court today?
Yes, sir.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you last reviewed it?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, and are there any markings that you recognize on there of your own?
Yes, sir. Those
Okay,
are my
what is
signature.
the mark on there?
My signature.
Okay, is that all that you have is marking?
Yes, sir.
All right, and I want to turn your attention back to the previous exhibit. Do you see any markings on there that are familiar to you?
Yes, sir.
What do you see on there?
My signature and the date.
Is the date also recorded on states 11 Tango?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, now turning your attention to states 12 Tango. And what is it that you have in front of you?
This is a front photo of the defendant, the photo shot.
And have you had a chance to review that particular exhibit prior to court today?
Yes, sir, I have.
And do you see any markings on that particular exhibit?
Yes, sir. My signature and my date is date.
I'm going to make sure for the matter of court recording that you can be heard.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you restate what you said?
Yes, sir. This is my signature and day's date.
And is that exhibit that you now hold as states exhibit 12 Tango Alpha in the same or substantially same condition as it was when you initially reviewed prior to court?
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit states exhibits 10 Tango, 11 Tango, 12 Tango.
Any objection to states 10 Tango, 11 Tango, or 12 Tango Alpha? All right, hearing none, they're admitted, may be published as you see fit.
Okay.
Now publishing for the record states 10 Tango. Record. Okay. All right, Lieutenant Bobby, you can utilize the screen to the left of you.
All right, sir.
Yes, sir. And just be careful because there's a ledge there. And I want to ask you a few questions about states 10 Tango, which is now being published.
Okay.
To whom do these records belong?
To Lamonte Kendricks.
Okay, and I'll show you.
Just a brief pointer. You can interact with this board.
Okay.
Okay, can you circle the name of the person to whom these records pertain? Okay.
So this is more.
And utilizing these records,
The
can you tell
Henry-
the jury, what is the description provided, 12 Tango?
And they show the booking photo again. So that is more or less it. And there's a sidebar. How about that? That is number 5 today, 4 or 5? I don't remember. Sidebar counter 186. And they're there for a good while. Stop with the World of Doom.
All right, so whenever you're ready.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
in order to prepare to come in and testify before the honorable jury today, will you ask anything about a gentleman named Mr. Martinez Arnold?
I'm an object on the basis that we spoke about it.
I'm gonna sustain the objection. Why don't you rephrase, Mr. Steele? Rephrase.
Did you look into anything dealing with a man named Martinez Arnold?
I'm an object again, Your Honor, on the same grounds.
I'll rule the objection. You can answer it, sir.
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. And you already stated that anybody who's booked into the Fulton County Jail would have similar information, meaning the arrest date and the date of release. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you, sir. Any other examiner? Defense examiner? All right, any redirect from the state?
No, Your Honor, nothing for this.
All right, may Lieutenant Volley be permanent?
May I ask one question?
Oh, let's see. One's a singular, okay? And no subparts.
Yes, Your Honor. When booked into the Fulton County Jail, are persons, arrestees, often having to get their clothing into property?
Yes, sir.
So, no further questions.
All right, Mr. Matthews, anything, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Great, thank you. I just have a question. You were asked about Mr. Kendrick's bookend just now, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. You noticed on the document that it had Mr. Kendrick being arrested at 2:33 a.m. hours, correct?
Yes, sir.
And tell the jury, what does bookend actually mean?
Bookend is actually when the person is brought into the Fulton County Jail in the intake area
Okay,
and actually
This now is a little bit interesting.
begin the process of booking them into the Odyssey system.
okay. So bookend involves picture taking, correct?
Yes, sir.
It involves fingerprinting,
Yes, sir.
correct? It involves basic information in terms of height, weight, date of birth, et cetera,
That's
correct?
correct, sir.
You can't tell the ladies and gentlemen of this jury what specifically was going on between that 7-hour span between 2:33 a.m. at the arrest and 9:04 a.m. at the time that Mr. Kendrick was booked in, correct?
That's correct, sir.
You don't know what was going on during that period of time, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And can you tell the court, if you can orient them, the distance from Donnelly Hollowell and Rice Street?
It's in the same proximity.
It's
Yeah.
close,
Yeah,
correct?
very close.
Okay. Thank you. No
Yes,
further
sir.
questions.
Anyone else? Any other defense examiners? Okay,
7 hours. What happened in those 7 hours? Was he interrogated? Was he thrown into a cell and waiting for a prosecutor to offer a plea deal? Or what happened in those 7 hours? We have no clue. There's a discussion in the chat now about the Swedish justice system. No, we do not have a bail system, as in you get $100,000 bail or bond. No, we don't have that. The only thing the court is the severity of the crime and the flight risk. That's it. If you can show that you are not a flight risk and the crime isn't one of the severe ones, you can everything from going home on your own recognizance, on your lawyer's recognizance, or with a monitor. We have hearings all the time. Crash course. You have the lowest level is there's a crime. Somebody did it. We have an inkling it's that dude. Next, you have a higher level of suspicion. Now you have gathered evidence from the crime scene and stuff like that. Yes, things point at that person. Then you go to the court and apply for every kind of warrant on everything. On the next level of suspicion, then it's where you get the second lowest is where you get interrogated, you get a lawyer, everything. Next level is when you can get a remained before trial, but that remainder has to be renewed every so often. The prosecution has to apply to the court that this person has to stay in jail because influencing witnesses, destroying evidence, flight risk, whatever's. And but you have to have continuous hearings about that. And if they haven't progressed in the investigation in a certain amount of time, the courts can say, well, you can keep him. You have to do the investigation with the dude outside. So, yeah. And on the fourth and the final is when you're ready for trial. Now, you can be, if the prosecution wants to and can motivate it, you can be in jail waiting trial for years. The longest I've heard of is 4.5 years awaiting trial, and that guy was let go after trial. Not enough evidence. But he spent 4.5 years, and then those 4.5 years he gets compensation for. I believe that guy got around 1.2, something like that, 1.2 million in recovery.
Any redirects, sir?
Is it uncommon for arrestees to have to wait for a while before they are booked?
That's true, sir. That's true, sir.
Are they always taken directly to the jail?
I sustain the objection. I sustain the objection. You can't answer that.
Is it uncommon for arrestees to have to wait hours inside the jail to be booked?
I'll sustain this form. You can rephrase.
What if any, where do the arrestees wait before booking?
In the intake area.
About how long is the average wait time?
Overrule, sir.
Objection calls for.
Overrule, sir.
About how long is the period of time for a typical arrestee to be booked?
Overruled. You've already made that objection once, Mr. Matthews.
It's gonna be, when the individual comes in, normally we get right straight to it. It depends on what's going on in the intake area, but most of the time right away, immediately.
No further questions.
Anything further? Gentlemen, ladies.
Only half of you have
Lieutenant
pressed
Volley,
the
permanently temporarily excuse the witness.
Temporarily.
All right, Lieutenant.
only half of you have pressed the thumbs up. What am I, shoplifter? Come on, folks, you can do better. I mean, there's roughly 100 of you here, and 48 or 49. Come on, you can do better. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that yet.
Volley, I'll leave you to go about your usual duties and avocation. You will be subject to a recall. We'll give you plenty of advance notices and let you know, okay?
Thank
But
you.
don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And
All right, call your next witness.
I'm longer witness, is it a longer witness?
It's a longer witness. Do you have an estimation?
It's gonna go past, I just wanted to know what would be willing to just give us an estimation of time when the court wanted us to break, for lunch. I don't mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, you want to have some lunch now? Okay, all right. Okay, so why don't we do this? Ladies and gentlemen, how about I have you come back for 12:45 and then we'll go ahead and get started with our next witness, okay? All right. All rise.
okay, and they have a bit of an argument.
Is it long?
Next. Okay, all right, we're in recess.
Oh, recess 2:23, 3:23, 1 hour, 1:10, 1:20, 1:30. Hey, and
Ms. Edmond, please.
now we have the Donovan Thomas and the prosecution as their first witness is Donovan Thomas' mother.
Ms. Edmond, good afternoon, madam. If you please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you turn and face Sergeant Ingram, be sworn as a witness, please.
Yes. Okay. Hi, my name is Shawana, SHAWONNA. Last name Edmond, EDMOND. Good afternoon, Ms. Edmond. Good afternoon. How are you? I'm well, thank you. Ms. Edmond, would you tell the jury who you are in relation to Donovan Thomas? Hi, I'm Shawana Edmond. I'm Donovan Thomas' mother. I'm going to show you what I have marked as State's Exhibit 3, Yankee. And I will show it to counsel for the defense, having previously provided a copy. If they are interested.
You can.
And immediately a sidebar. Which brings us to sidebar counter 187. Oh, 180. This is sidebar number 5 or 6 today only. And it lasts a few minutes.
All right, can someone our witness, please?
Yes, please.
Even this witness sounds like she dislikes Miss Love. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Donovan Thomas was killed 9 years ago. This woman, although she misses and loves her son, have moved on. Now comes District Attorney Fannie Willis and Assistant District Attorney Adrian Love and rips up all the wounds again. Why? Because they can. Because they are not good people.
Just take it back in the vestibule.
Yeah.
Or she can go to 8H. Or she can go to 8H.
And they muted.
Okay. You may continue, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Edmond, I'm going to show you what I have marked as State's Exhibit 3Y or Yankee and ask you if you recognize the person depicted in the photograph that is labeled State's Exhibit 3Y. Yes. How do you recognize that person? That's my son, Donovan Thomas. Is that a fair and accurate representation of your son, Donovan Thomas, in life? Yes. Your Honor, the state tender State's Exhibit 3 Yankee as evidence.
All right, any further objection to 3 Yankee? Otherwise hasn't been noted. All right. I'm going to admit 3 Yankee over objection.
Thank you.
It may be published as you see fit.
Thank you.
Ms. Love, hold on one second. Madam in the front row? Madam with the small child? Madam? No. You can either do one or two things. You can stand in the vestibule and you can still listen, or you can go to 8H where you can still be able to see it, okay? Because I can't compete with your little one. All right, thank you. All right, go right ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Would you tell the jury who it is that is depicted on State's Exhibit 3 Yankee? That's my son, Donovan Thomas Jr. And did you call him Donovan Thomas Jr. or did you have another name for him? Yeah, we called him Peanut. Where did that name come from? Just him growing up, he was smaller than he was, as you know now. And we just thought when he was born, he was just a cute little peanut, and that name just grew with him. When was he born?
April the 4th, 1988.
And when was the last time you saw your child alive?
The last time,
Oh, sorry.
saw my baby was
I forgot to mute while I was typing. Sorry, folks.
Give me a minute, please. It was Friday night. He was always came to the house and we
What date is that? Just tell me.
the day
Do you have an objection, sir?
January the 9th. January the 9th, I'm sorry.
I'm overruled. I'll rule the objection, sir. Objections, I should say.
You may
January the 9th,
what you
2015.
tell the jury.
January 9th, 2015.
And how old was your son when you last saw him?
He was 26 years old.
Did he go to school in Atlanta?
Yes, he attended Washington High School.
Sir,
You on a background with him?
but let's get to it. Let's get to it. It's marginally relevant, so let's move on.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Miss Love. When Judge Glanville tells you to move on, you need to actually move on.
Was Donovan your only child?
No, I have one other oldest son. Donovan was the baby.
And did Donovan have children?
Yes, Donovan have 2 kids.
I sustain the objection.
Do you remember the last day that you talked to your son? And Your Honor, I'm gonna go right into something else after this.
All right.
Do you remember the last day that you talked to your son?
Yes, I spoke with him January the 10th, 2015, that morning, but it was afternoon.
Do you remember around what time?
It was between maybe 2 and 4. I was at my flea market and he called me.
Now, backing up to the day before when you said that you last saw him, did your son drive at that time?
Yes, he did.
And what kind of vehicle did he drive?
He drove a blue 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe.
And was he driving it the last time that you saw him?
Yes.
When you talked to your son between 2 and 4 on January the 10th, 2015, without talking about anything he said in particular, are you able to tell the jury whether he was anxious or apprehensive about anything?
No, he was just his normal.
Basis. That was Mr. Steele and Mr. Sharp? Or no, Mr. Harvey? I sustain the objection.
Thank you, Judge. Would you describe your son's mood as he spoke with you on January 10th, 2015?
He was the same happy-go-lucky self. Always calling, checking on me as he always did.
All right. In January of 2015, would you tell the jury what kind of work your son was involved in, generally speaking?
Upon me and him talking, and he was kind of moving toward the music industry. Basically, he was just talking about artists that he was just trying to bring into the music industry, just taking all the different.
I sustain the objection.
Did you observe your son working in the field that you're describing for the jury?
I did.
And did that involve working with music artists?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a person by the name of Rayshawn Bennett or Lucci?
Yes, I am.
How do you know Lucci, generally speaking?
My son just was talking to me about someone that he was.
Basis. I sustain the objection.
We're not offering it, Your Honor. I'll change and I'll actually rephrase the question. I appreciate
That'd be
it.
wonderful. Okay, all right. You can rephrase.
Did your son ever bring Lucci to your house?
Yes.
Did you ever see your son interact with Lucci?
Yes.
Was Lucci one of the artists that your son worked with?
Yes.
I sustain the objection as to form. You can rephrase.
What was the relationship between your son and Lucci?
Just entertainment, music.
Are you familiar with a person by the name of Javon Fly Henry as well?
Yes.
Did your son work with that person as well?
Yes.
And with respect to Lucci, what was your son's relationship with Mr. Henry?
I think with the label, I think it's a game.
Is Think It's a Game the label that Mr. Henry owns?
Yes,
I stand objection.
Who owns Think It's a Game?
Mr. Henry.
And if you would do me a favor and lean into the microphone so that I can hear your voice back here and direct your voice.
Sure.
to the jury.
Mhm.
Now, did you personally ever visit Think It's a Game Records?
No, I did not.
Did you ever visit 675 Metropolitan Avenue?
No, I did not.
And when you spoke with your son last on January the 10th, 2015, without talking about anything he said, generally, what were the topics that you all discussed?
I think that's called for hearsay, Your Honor.
I sustain the objection. I don't think that's my question, so.
Who was Chris Markel Bennett?
That was my cousin.
And on January the 10th, 2015, was he alive?
No.
Did you speak with your son about him on January 10th, 2015?
Yes.
Your Honor.
Basis.
Relevant A and B hearsay.
Your Honor, as to the hearsay, I didn't ask her anything anyone said. And as to the relevance, that subject and name will come up more than once later on.
I'm gonna sustain. I'm gonna overrule the objection, I should say. Go ahead.
Thank you. Did you speak?
You can't just promise, oh, it will be relevant later. No, you have to lay the foundation now to even ask this question. But Judge Glanville,
Speak with your son about him on January 10th, 2015.
Yes, we spoke.
Do you remember when it was that Chris Markel Bennett died?
Yes, I can't remember the exact month, but the year was 2011.
And do you remember how he died?
It was homicide.
When you saw your son's vehicle on January the 9th, 2015, did it have any?
I'm gonna overrule the objection. I think she's just orienting. That's the play, sir.
Did it have any bullet holes in it that you saw?
No, ma'am.
this is just bad. What kind of question is that to his mother?
And when did you learn, better yet, let me ask you this, what happened to your son? Did he die of natural causes?
No, my son's death was a homicide.
Did he die on January 10th, 2015?
Yes, he did.
Were you at 330 McDaniel Street on January 10th, 2015?
No, I was home.
How did you find out your son had been harmed?
I received a phone call.
And how did your son die?
Question asked and answered.
I sustain the objection.
Was he shot, stabbed, or something else?
I sustain the objection.
No, she said homicide. She didn't say how.
Or it invites speculation unless she knows.
Do you know how your son died?
Yes, he was shot. It was, and it turned to a homicide once.
Yeah. We already know that Miss Love doesn't have a soul. I mean, that's beyond questioning at this point in time. When you learn about the Shane Kendall case and other prosecutions she's held in, you know she has no soul. Absolutely empty inside. Absolutely empty. There are multitudes of ways you can get this kind of evidence in without asking the mother. This is just vile.
Did you lay your son to rest? Did you bury
Yes,
him?
yes, we did.
When did you bury your son?
It was January 17, 2015.
And did you lay a gravestone over his gravesite?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Did you visit your son's grave after 2015?
Often, yes.
Yeah,
Were there any particular?
a bit of a heads up. completely unnecessary to show pictures from the gravesite. Completely. But it's still allowed in by Judge Glanville. Judge Fucktwat Glanville. Sorry, YouTube. I meant to say 4-quad. It's the accent. Sometimes when I blurt out words, it just sounds differently.
Occasions that you visited your son's gravesite.
Oh, sir.
Yes, I visited him on birthdays, Father's Day, and just days in general that I felt I wanted to just go there.
Did your son's gravesite remain as it did when it was first placed in the years following his murder? Was there ever a time where it was vandalized?
Yes, it was vandalized.
Do you remember when that was, generally speaking, the year?
It was 2019.
And what occasion took you to your son? Did you go to your son's gravesite on that day?
It was Father's Day 2019.
Did you visit your son's gravesite on Father's Day 2019?
Yes, I did.
And when you visited your son's gravesite, what did you find?
Sir. You have to renew your objection? Okay. Yes. All right, it's noted.
You may go ahead.
January 9th.
Your Honor, I would like to make a formal objection because the prosecutor is a cunt. Oh, sorry, YouTube's. It can't. It's my English. It's not that good at times. I said can't and nothing else.
It was Father's Day. I drove up to my son's gravesite, and once me and we drove up there, we noticed that the gravesite had been vandalized. And when I got out the car, I wasn't familiar with the word, but some of his other friends were in the word. It was something was spray painted, slapped on his grave, and it was chiseled around the size of the headstone.
When you said January,
It was Father's Day.
you meant 2019?
I'm sorry, 2019. Yes. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. I'm going to show you now what has been marked as State's Exhibit 4 Yankee, Your Honor, for the record, and what has already been shown to the defense. And then I'm going to just ask you to recognize what is depicted in the photograph labeled State's Exhibit 4 Yankee.
So my son's headstone.
And is this a photograph that you provided to the state?
Yes.
And is this a photograph that you or the person you were with took of the gravesite as you found it on Father's Day 2019?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state tenders State's Exhibit 4 Yankee.
How is this even remotely relevant if they have no idea who the jackass was who did it? And were there other gravestones around that was equally messed with? We don't know. Not yet, anyways. Because sometimes idiots show up and make stupid things around graveyards. But here it is used against the defendants, and to bring agony to Donovan Thomas' mother. And look at Miss Love. That is a face that does not care.
Any further objection, Mr. Shardas, to other than what's been noted already?
That's what's been already.
All right, it's, I'm going to admit State 4 Yankee over objection and maybe publish it, you see.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, Ms. Edmond, would you please spell out what is written across your son's tombstone?
You spell it out.
Spell it out.
SLATT.
And is State's Exhibit 4 Yankee a fair and accurate depiction of the gravestone as you found it on Father's Day 2019?
Yes, it is.
Would you tell the jury for the record what color the letters SLATT are written across your son's gravesite?
It's green.
Before you saw that, did those letters have any significance to you?
Prosecution have always alleged that since YSL are connected to the Bloods, their color is red. Green is a competing gang, according to the prosecution. This is the competing gang making a mockery out of the slime love all the time. Has nothing to do with the defendants. This is the rival, the green-colored. Yeah, I know why they allege that YSL is part of the Bloods, but that would mean if the Bloods actually did this, they would paint it in red and not having slat on it, because that has one meaning for the YSL. But it is a mockery if the competing gang does it. Goes through, yeah, green is a gang color according to this prosecution.
Person.
No, it did not.
Did you ever see your son wearing those letters on any article of clothing that he wore?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you ever see your son prominently displaying green attire at any particular time?
No, I did not.
And do you know who it was that put SLATT across your child's gravestone?
No, I did not. No, I do not.
I'm going to show you what has been marked Yankee, 28 Yankee, 30 Yankee, 37 Yankee, and 221 Yankee. They have also previously been shown to the
Jasmine Hall have to disagree. Not is with If Gang, and they had a beef with YSL. Both gangs are blood. YSL was green for slime. I've heard about this so-called beef and how it was resolved quite quickly. Yeah. I'm not sure. Look at this. I'm Swedish. I'm the whitest person on this planet. I really don't know much about the different gangs. But I've heard that the If and YSL beef was resolved quickly. And I see Rothman says green is the music YSL and red is the YSL Bloods, so to speak. But my interpretation of what happened there was somebody making a mockery of both Donovan Thomas and of YSL. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Let's just make sure that they're the same names.
Sure can. Okay. These are the ones we have. And while counsel is looking at them, turn it over.
Looking at more evidence.
Yankee,
Yes.
26 Yankee,
Yes.
28 Yankee,
Yes.
30 Yankee,
Yes.
37 Yankee,
Yes.
and 221 Yankee.
Yes.
How do you recognize the vehicle depicted in those photographs?
That was my son's vehicle.
And are those fair and accurate reflections of your son's vehicle?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state tender states exhibit 24 Yankee, 25 Yankee, 26 Yankee, 28 Yankee, 30 Yankee, 37 Yankee, and a 221 Yankee.
Any objections to states 24 Yankee, 25 Yankee, 26 Yankee, 28 Yankee, 30 Yankee, 37 Yankee, or 221 Yankee? All right, hearing no objection, they are admitted and may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm gonna just leave these up here. So we start off with State's Exhibit 24 Yankee, publishing to the jury now for the record. What are we looking at?
Again, this evidence they could have brought in with a lot of people. They shows the mother. This is playing the heartstrings. This is playing the emotions. I'm not sure it has the effect the prosecution wants, because I'm pissed off here that the prosecution, Adrian Love, soulless, empty, heartless Miss Love, she does this because she likes it, in my opinion. She likes inflicting emotional pain on people, in my opinion.
State's Exhibit 24 Yankee.
We're looking at my son's truck, his car.
Is that the rear view of your son's vehicle?
Yes, it is.
Is that the same vehicle that he was driving when you last saw him on January the 9th, 2015?
Yes, it is.
And as we look at State's Exhibit 25 Yankee, what are we looking at?
We're looking at my son's vehicle.
Yeah, and keeps going on like this, forcing the mother to watch the car shot to pieces. So let's go to cross-examination. Yeah, she tries to, do you know that man, that guy, those people? Nope, 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 nope. And she keeps answering, no, no. And cross-examination.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon.
You testified about your son's gravesite.
Yes,
Is that in Atlanta?
yes,
Yes, sir. And you took a picture?
yes. Me and several people took a picture.
Okay. And I was a bit confused. You said that picture was taken in 2019?
Yeah, my knowledge, 2019, yes. That was Father's Day,
Father's Day 2019?
2019, yes.
Okay. Did you report what happened to your son's gravestone to the police or the district attorney's office?
No, we reported it to the Lincoln Cemetery where the gravesite, and they did the investigation.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't call out any officials.
Do you know how the district attorney's office obtained the picture?
I did not.
Okay. Do you know if anyone was ever charged or arrested for that incident?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Any further examination, Mr. Steele?
Good afternoon, ma'am. My deepest sympathy.
Good afternoon, thank you.
I'd like to show you, with the court's permission, Mr. Williams, exhibit number 13. It'll
Yes.
pop up on a screen next to you.
Okay.
Your Honor, is that okay? It's already in evidence.
Yes, sir.
Can you make that a little larger, if it's possible? Ma'am, do you see what has been marked and entered into evidence as Mr. Williams, number 13, to your left?
Yes,
Okay, and is that your child in the white shirt?
yes, it is.
And do you know the person that your child is with in that picture?
Yes.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen jury who that is.
That's Jeffrey Williams.
And do you know, you see on the top, it says big business _ entertainment or ENT _ nut?
Yes,
And who, do you recognize that Instagram handle?
yes, that was my son's Instagram.
Okay. And underneath it, if Mr. Kokomo can just scroll down. Did you see this Instagram posting when it came out, if you remember?
I seen it posting after his passing.
Okay. And that says, me and Little Bra, you see that?
Yes, I do.
Do you know whose home that picture was taken?
No, I
Or
do not.
it may not be a home. Do you know who the location of that picture?
No, I do not.
All right. I'd like to show you two exhibits. God bless you. I'd like to show you two exhibits with the court's permission.
Okay.
And your permission. Mr. Kokomo is going to approach you.
Okay.
It is Mr. Williams' number 30 and 33. It was given to you in October 2023.
See the difference in tone here. The defense treats her with the respect she deserves. Miss Love, soulless, empty, heartless, was combative, confrontative, evil. She knows Donovan's mother did not need to be there. But she chose to call her in order to play some heartstrings towards the jury. And I only dislike that person more.
No. It's already been marked and shown to you previously. You have seen it, but it's going to be shown to you again.
Your Honor, I need to see it.
I said it's going to be shown to you again.
Okay, have Mr. Kokomo approach the state and let the state look at Mr. Williams 30 and 33.
It's already in evidence. She doesn't need to see it.
Christian, you have that already marked. Back in.
Your Honor, state has no objection to state defendant Williams exhibit number 30 and defendant Williams exhibit number
33.
With one small exception, we approach.
Yes.
And oh, yeah, there it is. Another sidebar, which brings us to sidebar counter 188. That's sidebar number 6 or 7 on this day only. Jesus Christ. For pictures she's already seen. And I take a break. Oh, no.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our jury's left us. We'll take 10 minutes.
Yep. 10 minutes. Let's hear. 5:07, 5:17, 5:27. That's 20 minutes. 25 minutes later.
So that you'll have this post and 31. We're just underneath post, and you can do the whatever that first line is, do all 13 comments, and the 12 August of 14. And then with exhibit number 33, same thing. So so that you'll have this post and then big biz underscore ENT underscore map. The bottom's fine.
And we don't have the date either.
Yeah, the date on the bottom is fine. The date on top is fine.
Yeah, they're having a discussion of what parts of these pictures are to be shown to the witness and subsequently to the jury. Let's skip ahead a bit. Oh, we're over 2 hours. Shit. I just wanted to say it. Yeah. Remember, hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I said this a year in August last year. I've been covering this case for over a year now. And I will cover this trial, gavel to gavel, live or recaps. When I made that promise back in August of last year, I had no idea what I got myself into. But when I make a promise, I keep it. And
I'm still waiting on this token.
and jury's
I'd like
back.
to show you, or Your Honor, I'll move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 30 as well as 33.
Your Honor, I ask that the foundation be established through the witness.
Fine, sir, you can ask some foundation. Sure. Go ahead. Ma'am, may Mr. Ms. Edmond, may Mr. Kokomo approach you with the court's permission and show you a couple of documents?
Yes,
Thank you. He's going to show you first Ms. Williams exhibit number 30.
okay.
Then when you're done looking at that, if you recognize it, just let us know.
Please stop the
And then if you
time
look
for
at
an hour.
the next one, which is going to be Mr. Williams exhibit number 33, okay?
How you doing?
And this, again, the defense treats her with respect. Something that the prosecution in this case doesn't even know. They don't even know the meaning of the word.
And your question is, are you asking me, do I recognize those pictures?
Yes, and yes, that is the question.
I mean, yes, I've seen those pictures before.
Okay, and that's for both of them, and I'm just formal, so Mr. Williams number 30, and then Mr. Williams number 33, that's what you said, yes, you're familiar with them, you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them before, yes.
Your Honor, now I move for the admission again, Mr. Williams number 30 and 33.
Any further objections?
No, Your Honor.
All right, subject to the court's earlier rulings, Williams 30 and 33 are admitted.
Ma'am, and
Yes,
they will come up to your left again, okay?
okay, thank you.
And this is the first one on the screen, you see, it says exhibit 30?
Yes,
Okay, and if Mr. Kokomo can just blow this up a little bit? Do you recognize again the big business underscore entertainment underscore nut?
yes,
And that's your son's Instagram account or
Yes.
social media account?
yes,
All right, and then in this one, do you recognize the picture at the top? Do you know who that young man is?
yes.
And who is that?
Jeffrey Williams.
And then do you recognize in the center picture who that person is in the white?
Yes, I think that's the artist Birdman.
Okay, and then next to him, and it's also the bottom, so it's in the center, a young female, you see the person in the center, and then again on the bottom, you know who that is? You recognize who that is?
I do not.
All right, do you see the writings on it where it says presents Rich Gang and YMCMB Flashy Lifestyle Episode 5 featuring Thug and Paris Hilton?
I see it, yes.
Okay, and if we go down, is it fair to say that that reflects an August 9th, 2014 posting date or date on the image?
Yes,
All right, if we can go to Mr. Williams number 33. And then this is number 33 you just saw, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Kokomo to just blow it up. And do you see again and recognize that that's your son's social media account posting?
yes,
And then this one, the gentleman on the left, do you recognize that photograph?
yes.
And who is that?
That's Jeffrey Williams.
And the gentleman to the right, do you recognize who that is?
Yes, artist Birdman.
Okay, and then it says, you see it, YSL Entertainment and Club Crucial present Young Thug Celebrity Birthday Celebration, you see that?
Yes, I do.
And then underneath it, it's a little distorted, so I don't want to, if you could read it, that's fine, but I don't want to say something. You see what that says underneath it?
Underneath, celebrity birthday celebration?
Yeah, can you make that out?
No, I can't.
All right, and then it says the performer or entertainer Birdman?
Yes,
And then it's Thursday, August 14th, Thursday, August 14th at Club Crucial, and then it gives the address, fair to say?
That's correct.
And then at the bottom of your child's posting, you see that August 12th, 2014?
Yes.
Did you know Jeffrey Williams' birth date is August 16th, 2000?
Objection, Your Honor, to facts not in evidence.
It has come into evidence already, Your Honor. His date of birth has come into evidence.
Same objection, sir.
Do you know when Jeffrey Williams' birthday is?
I do not.
All right, I'd like to show you, with the court's permission, Mr. Williams' exhibit number 222B. It's already in evidence. Your Honor, may I display this again?
You may, sir.
And once it's ready to play, this is a item that's already in evidence.
Mhm.
It'll pop up again, same place. And if you could just watch it, and we're going to play, we can play the whole thing, but I was going to play the first 20 seconds, okay?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, there's an objection. Could we identify or at least
It's a freestyle video that's been entered into evidence already, Your Honor. It's a music video.
Hold on.
As per usual, I can't show you the videos because I get copyright struck every damn time if I'm not fast enough. So they will have an argument, they show it, and it's done.
do you know about conflict between Marquavius Curtis and members of a group called YSL after January of 2015?
I heard the things that was just going on, you know.
I sustain the objection.
To your knowledge, was Marquavius Curtis cordial with Jeffrey Williams or any other members of YSL post January 10th, 2015?
Not to my knowledge.
Members of YSL, described already.
I'll sustain the objection, sir.
Was Marquavius Curtis cordial with Jeffrey Williams post January 10th, 2015?
I sustain the objection. Lay more foundation if you want to ask that.
Did you ever observe Marquavius Curtis with Jeffrey Williams after January 10th, 2015?
No, I did not.
Did you ever observe Marquavius Curtis with Martinez Arnold after January 10th, 2015?
Also speculation.
I asked what did she observe.
I'll overrule the objection.
Did you ever observe Marquavius Curtis with Martinez Arnold after January 10th, 2015?
No, I did not.
Did you ever observe Marquavius Curtis with Diamante Kendrick after January 10th, 2015?
No, I did not.
Just one second.
Maybe because Marquavius was smart enough to not bring these people around.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Any recross? Counsels for defense. All right. May Ms. Edmond be permanently temporarily excused the witness. All right, Ms. Edmond, I'm going to permanently excuse your witness. Thank you.
This poor woman should never have been a witness at all. At all. They could have gotten all this evidence in through the lead investigator of this case. And he will testify about more or less the exact same things. Oh, again, it was unnecessary. Miss Love chose to do this to rip up old wounds in order to get maybe some heartstrings towards the jury. I do not think it worked. Because she was not respectful. She walked in like an elephant in a porcelain shop. While the defense was actually polite.
For being with us today and for your patience. And please don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, madam.
Yeah, I believe this witness worked for the defense, but it was unnecessary, completely unnecessary. And now,
All right, state call your next witness.
At this time, Your Honor, the state calls for the stand Investigator Smith.
All right, summon Investigator Smith, please.
let's take a look at Investigator Smith.
Investigator Smith, good afternoon, sir. Sir, if you would please approach the witness stand once you get there. Before you sit down, if you'd be so kind to turn and face Sergeant Ingram, be sworn as a witness.
Raise your hand. Swear firm testimony you give the truth, the truth, nothing
Yes.
but
Darren Smith, DarrenSmith.
Good afternoon, Investigator Smith.
Good afternoon.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where are you employed?
The City of Atlanta Police Department,
How long have you been with the city of Atlanta?
19 years this past January.
Oh,
And, is that where you began?
oh, so you worked alongside with Detective Velasquez, who on the stand a few months ago admitted under oath that he destroyed evidence. That when witnesses made their statements, he erased the statements if he didn't believe it or if it didn't fit his narrative. Did you work alongside with that guy, Mr. Smith? Did you? Because if you did, I put you alongside him as a bad cop. But you never know. This guy might surprise us. I mean, we've seen about 60-something law enforcement officers of some kind in this trial so far. And I believe I noticed 3 that I would consider being honest on the stand.
In law enforcement group?
No, I grew up in Maine, and I worked for a small law enforcement agency up there for almost 5 years before coming to Atlanta.
So what year did you begin your law enforcement?
1999.
And, what rank did you reach, at, the police department in Maine, prior to becoming that?
I was just a patrol officer when I left.
And, what's your official title at the Atlanta?
Ooh, no consent. Thank you. One interesting thing with this witness to mark is how reports are stored in the time frame of all the reports that were lost. That's interesting. Let's see what he has to say.
Police department?
I'm a police investigator or a detective.
And, what are some of your duties and responsibilities in your current role?
Currently, I'm assigned to our Office of Professional Standards in our Internal Affairs Unit within the City of Atlanta Police Department. Right now, I investigate any allegations that any citizen may make against an Atlanta police officer during any type
You
of
will just
interaction with
sweep it
them.
under the rug.
I investigate use of force complaints, officer-involved shootings, in custody deaths that involve Atlanta police officers, and whatever else may come into my desk by my command staff.
What roles did you hold at the Atlanta Police Department, prior to your current role?
Prior to my current role, I spent some time in East Atlanta as a detective after spending 7.5 years in our homicide unit within the City of Atlanta Police Department. Before that, I made detective in 2010. I worked for 2 years again in East Atlanta, which is our Zone 6 precinct, investigating aggravated assaults, robberies, thefts, domestic violence, and so on.
And, what role did you hold in January of 2015?
I was an investigator in the homicide unit.
And, what were your duties and responsibilities in that role?
We would handle all homicides that occurred within the City of Atlanta. We would investigate missing persons, critical missing persons, like a Maddie's call, someone with dementia or Alzheimer's or something to that level. Occasionally, depending on the situation, we would respond to some suicides that weren't, that needed our assistance a little further. They weren't obvious signs of a suicide. Any suspicious deaths that the medical examiner would require our assistance for because they couldn't make an initial determination during autopsy. And some special cases, I guess, that would fall come into our investigation based on what our chain of command wished our homicide unit to handle.
I heard you say something about dementia.
Dementia.
Dementia. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Everybody, yeah, so,
Were you post certified in January of 2015?
yes, I was.
And are you post certified now?
I am.
Do you recall working on January 10th, 2015?
Yes, I was.
What shift did you work that day?
Evening watch for that homicide unit, that particular time was 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
And in the law enforcement community, can you tell the jurors what WASH is?
Our watch, at least in the city of Atlanta, is broken up into three time areas. We have a morning watch, which was normally the overnight shift, and that usually runs in most precincts from nowadays. It's from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. with various overlap in patrols. Day watch would be 6 a.m. to 2 to 3 p.m. and then evening watch would be 2 to 3 p.m. to 11 to midnight, depending on what precinct and what schedule you were working.
And on January 10th, 2015, what watch were you working?
Evening watch, the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. for our investigative unit.
What's the zone?
A zone is a precinct for a generic term. Our city is broken up into 6 precincts or 6 zones, and then the airport is considered a precinct, but it's kind of its own little city down there. So Atlanta runs from east to the west to the north, south with all six precincts.
What's a beat?
A beat is within the precinct. So we are in zone 5, which is precinct number 5. I believe there's 11 beats in it now. So the city is broken down. Your zone is broken down into smaller areas called beats that an officer is assigned to patrol and answer calls for service.
And what zone and beat were you assigned to on January 10th, 2015?
Well, the homicide unit covers everything in the entire city. We're not assigned any specific beat. We cover the entire city.
And do you recall being called out to 330 McDaniel Street Southwest, Atlanta, in relation to a shooting death on January 10th, 2015?
I do.
And in what county is that address situated?
Fulton County.
And can you tell the jury what you recall about that particular call?
It came in sometime during the evening watch hours. It was in January, so I think it came in probably the second half of our shift, closer to the end of the shift, because I know I was out there pretty late that night. Because down in the southwest area of Zone 5, which is the precinct we're in now, information we have is it was, a shooting. Reason homicide would get called out is because either somebody was deceased or was injured serious enough where they weren't certain if they would survive with medical intervention. So we also get called out to those just to make sure that we need to be there for it.
And prior to being called out that day, were you acquainted with the area?
I was.
How were you acquainted with the area?
Very. When I started in 2005 on the morning watch here in this particular precinct, I worked that beat most of my time in Zone 5.
And how long were you assigned that beat when you were a patrol officer for the Atlanta Police Department?
Total, probably about 3 to 4 years.
And can you tell the jurors what is located at the address of 330 McDaniel Street Southwest?
Well, at the time in 2015, it was a barbershop.
And was it daytime or nighttime when you went out for that call on January 10th, 2015?
It was night because it was dark.
And can you describe for the jurors what you recall seeing, if anything, upon your arrival to that location?
So when I first got there, I parked on the, hard to describe, on the west side, there's North Side Drive, and then McDaniel Street runs east and west and intersects with Peter Street. I came in on the Peter Street side, parked on that eastern corner, I guess, and got out and kind of walked into the direction where they had crime scene up. Patrol cars were there that had secured the initial incident location. And I just kind of stood there for a minute and just kind of observed and see what's out there before I would even enter that. From a distance, I could see there were 2 vehicles parked in the parking lot at 330 McDaniel Street. I believe there was another vehicle in the westbound lane of McDaniel Street. Initially, that's kind of what I saw. And the closer I got, the more I realized that some of these vehicles appear to have been, I guess what we call some defects, have been involved in some type of interaction or appeared that they had been shot, and there was some ballistic evidence that we could initially see when we first got there.
Okay, so I want to ask you a few questions on that. But before we do, I want to ask you, what does it mean for a crime scene to be secured?
Usually, in most cases, we like to see 2 types of scenes that are secure, an inner perimeter and an outer perimeter. In most cases, the scene was so fairly wide, we had a fairly good outer perimeter. There wasn't really a need for an inner perimeter because it was stretched out over such a long area. Usually, in this case, patrol cars were on the east and the west side of McDaniel Street, blocking off, so there's no traffic flow and rerouting traffic, so the investigators could have some space to work. And North Side Drive was the west side. There were patrol cars down there. There's a Texaco gas station right on the corner. There was a patrol car station there as well. What we want to do is make sure nobody comes in and enters the scene. It does happen sometimes. In my experience, family members will show up and they'll see their loved one, they try to run into the scene. So we try to make sure that nobody can come in on there. And so there's yellow tape everywhere, caution tape, patrol cars, and usually there's somebody taking names down of anybody that comes in, enters, and leaves the secure crime scene for us.
And why would you want anyone to come into the crime scene at the time?
We don't want anything disturbed. We want to look at it as is. We don't want somebody to come in there and pick up a piece of evidence and run off of it. We don't want someone to kick some cartridge casing, some ballistic evidence when someone to drive off with a vehicle that was involved.
And you indicated earlier, a few moments ago, that you said someone would take names. Why would anyone take names?
Crime scene log is important. We need to know who comes in and out of a crime scene. A lot of times that is if we need to do follow-ups. So if the initial beat officer gets there and there's 2 or 3 people that are there, they may be witnesses. So we're trying to write down their information because they may disappear or leave before we can get there and have a word with them. EMS staff, it's important to know who is in the crime scene. So if there's a particular area where there's a medical, what we call medical debris, where they tried to help somebody, we can explain why that's there because this was the paramedic, this was the fire department.
And when you arrived to the crime scene located at 330 McDaniel Street Southwest on January 10, 2015, was it in fact secure?
Yes, it was.
What role, if any, did you have at that time when you arrived to the crime scene? What was your responsibility?
Initially, it was to try to get a preliminary investigation of kind of what occurred down there. The lead detective was en route to the location. Either, I don't know if he was off that day or he was out working something else, but we had to wait for him to get there a little bit. And as a primary role, as the responding investigator, you just want to gather as much information as you can, come up with a plan on what you want to do next. Who do we need to assign tasks to, crime scene?
There's a lot of fucking words that means absolutely jack shit here. This could have been from a 90s cop show. I can't be bothered because, okay, did you secure the crime scene? Yes. How? Tape, whatever's. Okay. Did you collect evidence? Yes, I did. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Did you speak to a witness? Yes. Bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Again, this is a 5-minute testimony that will just go on. This is just word salad. I mean, I've been listening now for a few minutes, and all I get out of this is he went there. That's it. Okay, you were there. Thank you. Kept the log. Great. Now off the stand because you have nothing more of value. That's the lead detective who has to add the value. You're a supporting character in this blah, blah, blah. You went there, you put a log, or you did an off-eye fuck, and then what? Why is this so necessary to have everything but blah, 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 blah.
Processing, witness, canvases, somebody looking for video information, and then the lead detective, if somebody needs to go to the hospital and so on and so forth. So that was kind of my initial role, was trying to figure out who was going to do what until the lead detective would get on scene.
And did you, when you said decide what you wanted to do next, what did you do after you kind of evaluated your incident?
I took the role of assisting and processing all the evidence that was at the crime scene. To go in there, we have civilian crime scene technicians that work hand in hand with us while we're out there. So we kind of work as a group together. And when I do a crime scene, I'm really deeply involved with it because I want to make sure we don't miss anything.
So you walked around and pointed at things that the actual crime scene investigators could mark. That was you. That was you. You came there, you set up a log, and then look at that. Oh, another bullet. Oh, a bullet hole. You should be a politician, because if you can make this little sound that important, you're in the long. You should be a politician. Those two make as little as possible for the highest amount of pay as possible.
How are you alerted that there was a call out for shooting at 330 McDaniel Street Southwest?
If I had to guess, over the radio, we have handheld radios. They'll raise a homicide unit over our detective dispatch channel. We were notified to go out there.
And when you say raise on the radio, what's it?
The beat officer will get on a radio channel, and they'll request a homicide unit, and they'll explain what they have, and then they'll request us out to the location.
Earlier, you also stated months ago that usually when you're doing the crime scene investigation portion as an investigator, there's a civilian crime scene tech officer with you. Was one accompanying you on the evening of January 10, 2015?
Yes.
And do you recall that person's name?
Crime scene technician Stewart.
So we need a crime scene technician and we need a lead detective. Guy, off. But no, here we go.
And what was crime scene tech Stewart's responsibility with you as you processed that crime scene?
So our crime scene techs are responsible for actually photographing the crime scene in our direction.
That they can describe, not you.
We work together with marking which pieces of evidence that we want to have collected and photographed. I said, I'm pretty hands-on, so a lot of times I'll put the markers down where I feel they're necessary based on the scene. Like I said, they photograph an overall picture of the crime scene before we even start putting any type of evidence markers down. They will actually...
Yellow cone guy in crime scene investigations is like being proud of gathering shopping cart at Walmart. You don't choose the clever one for it.
physically collect the evidence that's there. A lot of times they'll collect it, they'll note it to me, we'll read what it is, we'll note what it is, I'll write it in my crime scene log, and they will make a note of it on the evidence envelope that they collect that evidence into. So we do that from every piece of evidence, and that's how we gather all that information and anything we feel is pertinent.
Is it fair to say that you work in tandem with each other every time?
Yeah, we're pretty much hooked at the hip when we're out there. At least I am anyways.
What time did you go out to the 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta location for the call homicide?
I don't recall the specific time. I believe it was on the second half of our shift.
And at the time you were raised on the radio, you say, do you know whether someone had died at that point?
I don't specifically recall if somebody was officially deceased, or they had been, or at Grady and not expected to survive. But either one would require a homicide response.
And why is the homicide unit is raised before you know someone is actually in fact dead?
Well, because a lot of situations, sometimes if the call may come into the 911 center, it's dispatched to the beat officer to respond. It's also dispatched to EMS services, which is part of Fulton County services. So it's almost like a dual call coming in. And a lot of times, in my experience from homicide cases, sometimes the EMS will transport somebody for whatever reason they feel is necessary. And then sometimes they don't transport somebody because it's obviously a deceased person there. So for whatever instance this was, the individual was transported before the homicide unit got there, and that's why we were notified.
When is the homicide unit raised on the radio before someone is going to be deceased?
It could happen anytime. Sometimes we'll get the call before it comes in. It depends how the call for service comes into the 911. Sometimes people will say, hey, there's somebody dead in the street. Sometimes we'll get the notification along with the responding officer.
At the time that you responded to the 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta.
They have gone on with this guy, and now they're getting into, at what time did you respond? That should have been the first, after asking what's your name, what's your job, have you done it a lot of time? Yeah. At what time did you get to the crime scene? That's like, and it's been there for 15 minutes.
Crime scene location on January 10th, 2015. Did you know upon arrival that someone had in fact been shot?
Yes.
And at the point,
F.E. Rothman puts it out there perfectly. We can read your policy and procedure brochure very, very quickly. You can replace this guy with a fold-up brochure.
when you had arrived, did you receive the names?
Not initially, I didn't.
Did you have any other descriptions or information about the persons involved in that shooting?
I didn't have any of that information, no.
Okay.
Let's circle back to something you said. Earlier you were indicating that the crime scene tech.
I just have to say, this is after Judge Glanville forced the prosecution to trim it down to the bare minimum amount of witnesses. Remember, they had close to 800 witnesses in the beginning of this trial. Then, after a couple of months, they trimmed it down to 400, and now they're down to 209 witnesses. And this is one of them. This is apparently so essential to the prosecution's case that they really, really have to have this guy there.
typically at the direction of the crime scene investigator, is collecting physically evidence. Do you recall testifying to that?
Yes.
What is the process for collection of evidence? If you could describe it in terms of what happens afterwards.
You mean once the evidence is collected or during the collection process?
Well, actually both.
So just an example, in this case, if there was a specific piece of evidence, in this case, ballistic evidence, we do overall photos. We take measurements, crime scene measurements for approximate distance from how far this piece of evidence is to the location of the other evidence and other, in this case, vehicles were involved. We'll put a marker, the yellow markers. It'll be any variation of numbers. In this case, I think we had 67, 68 plus evidence markers. We'll put that evidence marker next to the piece of evidence we're collecting, and then we'll take additional overall photos with the evidence markers in there because it's easier to see the evidence as it's laid out as a whole. So once that's all collected, once the measurements are done, the crime scene tech will normally collect the evidence, put it in an evidence envelope. They'll mark on the evidence envelope, and particularly with cartridge cases, sometimes we can read the back of the cartridge case to see what caliber it is, what make it is. Me specifically, one of us are reading it off, and in this case, I think she was reading it off. I would write down the caliber and the make of the cartridge case if we were able to see that. They'll package the evidence up, each evidence individually, and then from there, once the scene is all done, they go back and they complete their evidence gathering and collection, and they note what they did and their progress from there, and then they get put into our evidence and property control unit.
And is it fair to say that the crime scene tech works under your direction at a crime scene?
They do when I'm out there, yes.
Okay. And what does it exactly mean to work under your direction as a crime scene investigator?
Actually, under my direction is probably a rough one. We work as a team. We're out there getting everything.
You had to correct him. Well, we work as a team. I'm not comfortable. And you saw his, ooh. No, you were the yellow cone guy. Mr. Investigator Smith. You were the yellow cone guy. Why the grown-ups did the collecting, did the interviewing, went searches, they told you, here are some yellow cones for you to play with. Put them somewhere. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. But I mean, he can talk, but it has no substance. Jesus Christ.
Thing done. So we'll actually talk to each other a lot and then say, hey, this is how we want to start this crime scene. This is the direction we want to, the flow of how we want to process this crime scene. And we'll discuss what pieces of evidence we want to gather. In most cases, if I'm out there, I'll put the evidence markers down where I want them to be. And then we're on the same page. We'll also note that, she'll note what I note, and we work together through it to make sure we don't miss something, because there's two sets of eyes out there. I may not see a piece of evidence and she may find it in this case or any case, and so on and so forth.
Okay. On the day of January 10th, 2015, the crime scene techs you work under your direction?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier you stated, you talked about the flow of the crime scene. What did you mean when you say that?
Well, you kind of want to be somewhat organized. You just don't want to go out there and throw a bunch of markers down and hope you catch everything. You got one chance to get it, one chance only. So you got to get everything that you could possibly find on a crime scene, because once you release the crime scene, it's going to be hard to say that this piece of evidence came from this area if it isn't collected that night. So you got to be methodical. You got to take your time and try not to overlook anything.
You said release the crime scene. What do you mean by that?
When a crime scene is done, in this case, we have a street blocked off. So once we feel everything is processed, photographs are collected. In this case, I think there was some vehicles involved that they're properly taken care of. Once we feel we've gathered all the evidence, we open the street back up for pedestrian flow, for traffic flow, for people to go on their lives, I guess.
For the crime scene that you visited at 330 McAndrew Street on January 10th, 2015, how long did it take to process the crime?
I know I worked late that night into the morning. Could have been upwards of 3 to 4 hours, maybe.
And as you begin to process the crime scene, as you've explained so far, how do you pick where to start?
Sometimes it's difficult when there's a lot of physical evidence to pick up.
No, it isn't. You pick a corner and work yourself around while other people scan the ground, is there evidence, and move towards the actual object. It actually is not hard. It might be hard for you, Investigator Smith, because you're the yellow cone guy.
They're going to start at, in this case, we're between Peter Street and Northside Drive on McDaniel Street. We have a decision to make of not necessarily where it began or where it ended, but this is, we just decided that the bulk of the evidence was in the part parking lot or right out in front of the barbershop. So we decided in the West.
They decided that the bulk of the evidence were where the actual shooting took place and the guy died. Investigator Smith, when you pat yourself on the shoulder at the end of the day, do you sometimes miss and hit yourself in the face? Gee, what the fuck?
Wasn't much beyond that. So we decided to start at North Side and McDaniel and work our way east towards Peter Street, which is where the barbershop was. Not a whole lot happened beyond the barbershop. So we figured one of two things. It either started at this end or it ended on that end.
And when you say the bulk of the evidence was at the barbershop, what do you mean?
Most of the evidence we collected in the vehicles we hauled was almost right in front of the barbershop on McDaniel Street.
What type of evidence did you collect in front of the barbershop?
A lot of ballistic evidence, which is anywhere from a cartridge case, which is a fired bullet that ejects out of the weapon, bullet fragments on the ground. I believe we collected some cell phones, some keys.
Is a cartridge case the same as a shell case?
Yes, that's cartridge case. Shell case is kind of the everybody knows term.
All right. And earlier you indicated that when you arrived to the crime scene, photo of this type, photos are typically taken. Were photos taken in this particular, at this particular crime scene?
Yes.
All right. I am now showing defense counsel what has been previously marked as State's Exhibits 5, Yankee.
Hey, Bree, good to have you here. You missed 7 sidebars. But I don't know if there will be another, but here's one for you. Sidebar counter, 188. Yeah, I think we started this day on 181 sidebars. I wish I was kidding.
To 23 Yankee, 27 Yankee, 29 Yankee, 31 through 36 Yankee, 38 Yankee, to 20 Yankee, and to 22 Yankee to 283 Yankee, which have been previously marked and already shared in the discovery process. And Your Honor, for convenience sake, I am sharing a distilled PowerPoint containing these same exhibits therein for defense counsel.
Is there for a PowerPoint display? Is it the same damn photos we already seen? Just from different angles and photos of bullets? Jesus, oh please, dear God, no.
The only changes to those numbers were those admitted already, just for the record. And just a brief note, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Skipping ahead.
Mayor Smith, have you had a chance to review those previously today? Previous court, how many court testified at?
Yes, all of them, as I see my name on them.
Yes, and do they accurately depict the crime scene as it was on January 10th, 2015 at the area around or about 330 McDaniel Street Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia?
Just trying to go through a few of them.
And for the record, we just going to use it.
I mean,
That's you. When you finish looking through them, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks.
seriously?
All right, it is a little, as you can tell.
It's 27 Yankee to 29 Yankee.
Yes, 27 Yankee.
30.
Skipping ahead. That's a Jesus Christ, that's a lot of pictures. You don't need, you need representations, like 10 pictures. Then you stipulate with the defense there are 202. They will go in with the rest of the evidence if the jury wants to look at them all. That is how you save time. Glanville, saving time, the thing you say you want, they don't need this. Yeah, Ghost, I wouldn't be surprised if Miss Love is trying to sneak something in within those 200 pictures. That is why the defense is looking through them all. This is at cumulative. Skipping ahead. Let's see, they're almost done. Skipping ahead. Okay.
Investigator Smith, have you had a chance to review the photos that were placed in front of you?
Yes.
And do they accurately depict the crime scene of 330 Damage Street Southwest as it was on January 10, 2015?
Yes.
And have those photos been altered in any way?
Not that I see.
And Your Honor, now the state now moves to admit states exhibits 5 Yankee to 23 Yankee, 27 Yankee, 29 Yankee, 31 Yankee through 36 Yankee, 38 Yankee to 220 Yankee, 222 Yankee to 283 Yankee.
That's
evidence at this time and subject to your ruling.
250
Any
photos.
objection to states 5 Yankee to 23 Yankee? All right, hearing none, 5 Yankee to 23 Yankee are admitted and may be published as you see fit.
Thank you.
Any objection, they are admitted. Yankee. States. All right, hearing none. 2 Yankee, I'm hearing no objection. The states 220.
Photos, 24 Yankee. Investigator Smith.
So this is just different angles of a crime scene. Normally, even in murder trials, in serial killer trials, they select a few to show that show from this angle, that angle, this angle, this angle. Here are the important bullets. They get him to testify. Yes, this is a representative. We had 61 of these cones out. Boom. Now I mean, Jesus Christ.
Why do you all take so many photos?
You don't want to miss anything. You don't want to just take one photo and hope it's going to be the perfect photo that you're looking for. It may be blurry. So, and
You can't make out anything with one photo. Ask Miss Love. She makes a lot of things out of different Instagram photos that we know have been doctored with, because they took it from other accounts than the defendants.
Stuart likes to take a lot of photos, which I think is awesome because I let her take all the photos she wants. You just never know. I mean, just personally, when you just don't know what it's going to come out as. So a lot of times you may take duplicate photos of the same
You
piece of
feel
evidence.
important if
And,
you take
You know,
many photos.
you take it and you look at the photo and it looks okay, but then when you go look at it, it's like, ooh, what are we looking at? So the more photos, the better.
I am now looking at what has been previously marked in as states exhibits 284 Yankee and 285 Yankee. These two were also provided by way of email for their courtesy review.
And silence. Let's skip ahead. Oh, 2.5 hours and no Mr. Jingles. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I have Mr. Jingles right here beside me. Hold on. Mr. Jingles, wakey, wakey. Don't end me. when I do this. Hello, sleepyhead. Hello. Look how happy he is when I do this. Look at this joyous face of Mr. Jingles, who really, really likes when I do this, just to show him off to you guys. Huh? Ow, ow. Oh, all right. Let's go on.
States 284 Yankee and 285 Yankee, and I've approached the witness with the same. And starting with state 284 Yankee, I'll ask you a few questions about that. What is state 284 Yankee?
That is my crime scene diagram and I guess ledger.
Did you perform, did you create that for this particular case?
Yes.
And why would you do that?
I do that for all my crime scenes I process. Just so depends on the situation. Like this one, this is a very, very large, lot of evidence to collect. Some crime scenes, maybe not as much. So I just wanted to be organized so I can recall what I'm looking at, what each piece of evidence is, so I don't have to guess. This is accurate.
And do you see your name or anything on there, Eddie?
Yes. Yes.
Where's that?
It's at the bottom, my signature and my name.
And is that diagram in the same or substantially same condition as it was when we authored it?
How many hours per day do you sign your photos? How many? Is that why you keep taking that many photos, so you can sign it and feel important?
January 13, 2015.
It was.
Right at this time, state almost condition of states 284 Yankee is evidence.
Any objection to states 284 Yankee? Our hearing none is admitted.
Turn your attention now to states 285 Yankee. What is in front of you?
This would be a report from the crime scene tech Stewart.
And what is the crime scene record?
Anytime a crime scene technician goes out to process a crime scene, or anytime they're called, then they get called for anything in our city, from a burglary to a robbery to a theft, serious injury, accidents. Unfortunately, when one patrol car runs into another, they come out for that. They document everything, and at the time, this is the reporting system that they use to enter the evidence that was collected in the call that they responded to log the photos, to log the evidence, to log everything that they did. It's a lot like a police report, but it's a report for crime scene technicians to complete.
So is the crime scene record, well, let me ask this question. Are crime scene records kept for every set of photos taken in the direction of crime scene investigators such as yourself?
They should be, yes.
And are crime scene records kept in the normal course of business for APD for crime scene what we've described so far?
Yes.
And are crime scene records made at or near the time that crime scene photos are taken as it is particular case?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the means that are you familiar with the means by which crime scene records are kept at APD?
Well, there's two systems, the old system, which is this one, and then we have a newer system. So they're kept electronically in this case.
How are they kept in the old system?
Well, they're all.
So how come your reports are flawless and everybody else's are missing, except coincidentally they found the pictures and statements that speaks to the prosecution's case, but what might be exculpatory missing? Isn't that weird that this guy knows everything about keeping record on whatever system? So how come these reports that the defense has been asking for about 2 years now are missing? They are stored at the same database as you store yours. Old system, new system. You use them both. Why are you able to access and bring forward all of it, but barely nobody else?
All electronically. It's just a different program that we're using. We've changed reporting systems on how evidence gets put in. This was an old system compared to the new system.
And does the state's exhibit 285 Yankee accurately describe the photos that were taken by yourself and Investigator Stewart on January 10, 2015 at the crime scene of 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, it does.
And Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to this state's exhibit 285 Yankee as evidence, subject to your rule of commission.
Any objection to states 285 Yankee
Yes, Your Honor.
basis?
Hearsay, there's a narrative report included in 285
see
from
it,
a
please.
non-testifying witness, and I don't believe that should be admitted. I believe it's the third to the last page.
I'm sorry, it's the what?
Third to the last page.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, somebody said it earlier. I think Miss Love is trying to sneak something in. There it is, a narrative report hidden on page 3 of 285.
Okay, can you give me a second? Let me look at it first.
Oh, before. I do this occasionally. I do this occasionally. For just $3 a month, you become a member. Those member dollars keeps this channel afloat. The occasional super chat, membership, where you get access to all my members only content for just $3 a month. That is what, well, I have a separate internet for the channel. I have, well, the computer and everything, and the StreamYard Plus, the art list when I have to make music because something is extremely boring, for instance. This one. So I would urge you to, if you can, make a contribution to this channel to make it keep producing content like this. Yeah. I'm a bad grifter, but this one. All right, let's continue. And if you don't want to pay YouTube, you can go via PayPal. PayPal only takes a 2 to 5% cut, while YouTube takes a 30% cut. And I pinned it on the top of the chat. See what George has to say.
Oh, come on
up. Come on up. You know what that means? It is. Dun dun dun. Sidebar counter 189. Oh. 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 Oh, let's skip ahead. Let's skip ahead.
Just, well, they can go ahead and take comfort. Mr. Williams, you can go ahead and use the restroom. We'll just reconvene when everybody gets back, okay? All right, so we'll be in recess.
Okay, recess. And
some almost 200 exhibits with our current witness. It might be an appropriate time for us to transition and pick up where we left off on Tuesday.
That would be Tuesday next week.
Tuesday, the 28th of May. So can we check and see if what can we I'm going to just cover that with him just now, and then we'll go ahead and excuse him once we bring our jurors in. Okay. All right. Investigator Smith, come on. Okay. Are you okay with coming back on the Tuesday, the 28th of May for, need to be here by 9:30. Does that work for you?
I can, as long as I'm done that day, because I am on a flight the next day. So I can
What
do
time
it.
is your flight the next day?
It's at 5, but I got errands to do in the morning,
Understand. Okay. All right.
but I certainly can do the 28th.
All right. Okay. All right. State.
How long does he expect himself to be on the stand if he forewarns the court that he has to travel the next day? Well, that is an opening for the defense, isn't it? If the prosecution keeps moving in garbage evidence with him, they have no obligation towards this guy. And they do have a reasonable right to cross-examine him at that point, not breaking it up because he has to travel. That's on the prosecution.
You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And when you, should something arise, and you need to be called back again, when would you be available other than that? Like you said, you're leaving on Wednesday, the 29th?
Correct.
When are you coming back?
I'll be back in town on June 12th, but not officially back to work until June 17th.
Okay. All right.
Vacation. Maybe Aruba. Maybe Aruba. Because we all know what happens in Aruba. We all know what happens in Aruba. If you don't know, Aruba was where Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade went, and I have actually some footage from their trip to Aruba that we might know how the money was spent. That's probably the best meme I've ever done.
Letting us know. All right. Sergeant Ingram, can you go ahead and summon our jurors, please?
I don't know when the defense is going to cross-examine him, because they are now talking about a piece of evidence about the 200 photos. And if the prosecution are actually going to do a slide with 250 photos, that will take a while. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Let's hear about this damn.
Ladies and
photo.
gentlemen of the jury, it is, we have come to a point in the day which is,
Yeah.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, before I excuse you for
Come on.
and unless you have any other inquiry of me, we'll come at, if you all could be here by 9:30, we'll be until 5.
And out they go. Yes, I know I probably don't pronounce Fannie Willis' name right, but
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Our jury has left us. All right, Mr. Brown, is it likely, given what your witness has told, your witness, that is Investigator Smith, do you believe you'll be able to complete your examination of him?
I certainly will do my best to still to my colleagues.
Okay, well, we need to probably finish him on Tuesday, whatever length of time that takes, since he's traveling and he won't be back for another 2 weeks. So that's my directive to you. So be prepared, maybe a long day. Okay, all right. Let's go back to States 285 Yankee.
here's the thing, Judge. Why is that only? Why didn't you say for your direct examination and cross-examination? Is it because you won't allow them to cross-examine him for 2 weeks?
I have taken a look at, and Mr. Sharp, you pointed out to my attention the third last page, a multiple page document. The last third page in that particular series, it has a narrative. It appears that the narrative was in fact authored by Investigator Smith. State, I'm inclined to exclude it just for the purposes of this particular
Yeah.
report. However, what is in the narrative, he can certainly testify to throughout his testimony and the photographs. I'm sure that you're probably going to show the jury. So most of the stuff in here.
So narrative in the actual slide, out, but he can still testify about it. But this again, because we don't know what he actually answers within that narrative when he's asked about it. But if they get in the entirety of the narrative into evidence, it's in evidence. And then they can walk all over the defense. So this is just another of these times where the prosecution cheats. They know they're not allowed to do this.
With a predicate
Yes, sir.
can be discussed.
To be sure, would it be admissible, excluding that particular page that you just referenced?
That's the only thing that Mr. Shard has objected to as of yet. I still haven't heard from Mr. Steele yet, but Mr. Shard, is that your objection as to the third last page?
It is, Your Honor. That was my original objection. My colleagues.
Okay, I'm going to take yours right now.
Okay.
I'm going to go to another examiner in just a second. I will direct the state to remove this particular page from this exhibit. Do you have any other basis for objection on this CAB report?
Your Honor, I believe that the other pages are descriptions of work done by, I believe it would be crime scene tech Stewart.
They're photo descriptions, yes.
And I do not believe that those would be classified as a police report, would not be admissible as a business record exception. And I've been handling case Brown v. State 274 Georgia 31.
Let me hear Brown again. 231 what?
274 Georgia 31,
What year?
2001.
That was before our evidence code was revamped, sir.
I understand. I believe that the hearsay rules in regard to business record exception, I don't believe that they changed the new evidence code.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
Your Honor, you have heard so far from Investigator Smith, who has testified extensively about the work that he did in tandem and directing Investigator Stewart to do side by side, to use his exact words. He testified that the information contained in that crime scene record are references to the photos that were taken that he has testified about. So it coincides. Because of that, his testimony helped the jury understand it more fully and completely. He was present for all of the evidence that she logged. It's in the ordinary course of business to create such a record for crime scenes. He said they are made in every crime scene of this type, and it always happens. He's familiar with how such processes work and how they function, especially in this particular case. And he stated it was routinely done. And to the cases that specifically speak to why this should be admissible, quick v. States is a quick reference point for the court. That site being 360 Georgia at 525, most on point, Penn site 528, which speaks about investigators being able to reference other things that aided in helping them to make conclusions and results in their investigation. He can accurately describe the things that are contained therein that crime scene record.
Yeah, but then he can testify about it. It doesn't have to be attached to the photos. Those are separate parts of your of evidence. The photos that can be shown to the jurors, but the narrative and his reporting, that is him to testify about, and if necessary, does this refresh your recollection? It's not supposed to be with the photos.
So for those reasons, Your Honor, the state maintains its position that it is admissible and it can come through him, subject to the exclusion exception that the court announced earlier in terms of reacting to narrative portion of it.
And Your Honor.
Can you give me a second, sir?
Yes, sir.
And to add to that, Your Honor, I want to just make sure that, oh, sorry.
Jumping ahead a bit. Thank you, Rothman. Thank you so much. Yeah, please
Okay,
check out my
Mr.
other channel.
I
Check out my other channel where I read Scandinavian fairy tales. It's a great palate cleanser. After all these trial, all these technical, just listening to me reading old fairy tales.
did in fact read Brown at 274, Georgia 31. It's been distinguished by Thompson versus the state at 332, Georgia Appeals 204, decided March the 30th of 2015. And it says in pertinent part, Thompson contends the trial court committed reversible error in admitting the loss prevention report under business records exception to the hearsay rule, OCGA 24-8-8036, because the trial jury in this case was conducted in April of 2013. Georgia's new evidence code applies. Business records are admissible as an exception to the hearsay rule if certain criteria are satisfied. Unless the source of information or method or circumstances of preparation indicate a lack of trustworthiness, subject to the provisions of Chapter 7 of this title, a memorandum, report, record, or data compilation, any form of acts, events, conditions, opinions, diagnosis, if it is admissible, if A, made at or not near the time of described acts, events, conditions, opinions, or diagnosis, made by or from information transmitted by a person with personal knowledge and the business duty to report, kept in the regular course of business activity, and was a regular practice of that business activity to make the memorandum, report, record, data compilation as shown by the testimony of the custodian or other qualified witness, or by certification that complies with paragraph 11 and 12 or 12 of 24-9-902 or by any other statute permitting certification. So I'm going to overrule your objection on that basis.
Your Honor, may I perfect the record? Because
Yes,
I think
you can.
there is a distinction.
Say again?
May I perfect the record? Because I believe there is a distinction, if I could just be heard.
Well, tell me what the distinction is.
Okay, in Thompson, from what I'm understanding, that was a loss prevention report. We are talking about police reports here.
Okay, but
And
it's the same report. It's the same report.
Well, can I?
It's a report, and it still can be a business record, but it has a different issue as to what can be actually testified to in the report.
Your Honor, if I just may, I think these words bring the difference to light. In Brown v. State, on page 36, they cite to the Court of Appeals opinion, the dissent, which they're agreeing with. They say, were we to conclude.
The dissent, not the majority opinion. You talk about the dissent?
Well, the dissent, because the Court of Appeals found the other way, and the Supreme Court of Georgia is finding the way of the dissent in this Brown case. And they say, were we to conclude that the police report narrative in this case were admissible, serious public policy implications would result. As noted in the dissent, the majority of the Court of Appeals in this case, if the majority is correct on this point, a major alteration in the administration of our system of criminal prosecutions may result. Because almost all prosecutions are based on incidents in which there are witness statements are taken, and those, along with the police officer statements, are made part of some police agency's reporting system. It is reasonable to expect that in the future, it might be the rare case in which the witnesses actually come to court to testify. So what they're saying in Brown is if we just let in police reports under the business record exception, we don't even need live witnesses anymore for trials. Why would you? You can just put in the reports as business record exceptions, as an exception to the hearsay rule, and we would do away with all the necessities of a criminal trial, including live witnesses. And that's all I'm saying with crime scene tech Stewart is, sure, the state can bring in these photos and the documentation, but crime scene tech Stewart should be providing the live testimony for that, not some police report that was created in the Brown case. And I just think it's
another or witness. It can be the crime scene tech and or the detective that did.
And or depending on availability. That is the piece that judge is skipping here. Depending on availability. If you have testimony, access to testimony, there should be testimony. If there isn't access to testimony, you are in your discretion, Your Honor, to bring in the records through another person. But crime scene technician Stewart is available.
This particular circumstance, who authorized all the photos to be taken at his direction.
right, but we're just admitting a document.
He's going to testify to it, I assume. Is that correct? Yeah. So he's going to give live testimony about those particular.
He didn't actually say that it was on his direction. He claimed it was a group effort. Now, why did he say that? Because he had to, because he was yellow cone guy. He was himself directed to do stuff.
Entries into that report.
So then I would say we don't need that. I mean,
And you would say it's probably cumulative, right?
yes. I mean,
Okay,
that's-
I'm still going to overrule your objection, okay? All right, Mr. Harvey. Yes, sir.
I just want to follow up on that, Judge. If you look at 8036, I know you've made your ruling, but let's look at the rules. 8036, after it enumerates the conditions under which a business record might be admitted, says as follows: public records and reports shall be admissible under paragraph 8 and shall not be admissible under this paragraph. I'm going to wait till you catch up and get to 8036.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and this is why the prosecution does this, because they force the defense to do the lawyer work on the spot, because this is another way for the prosecution to enter surprise evidence, and then they do this and then do that, and Mr. Shard is stalling. Now, he has the correct answers, but he's also stalling while the other people are looking. This is something that Judge Glanville normally doesn't allow the defense to do. He allows the prosecution, the prosecution can come back a week later with new research, and he will allow that. But here, they are using this at the moment. This witness is on the stand now, not in a week. Well, technically in a week now, but it's technically the next day, next trial day. So this is just another way for the prosecution to cheat, to be shady, to be dishonest. And the judge allows it.
Thank you. I got it. All right.
And Mr. Harvey probably knows more about Georgia law than this judge will ever forget. Or the other way around. Mr. Harvey has got information.
Not yet, sir. Not yet. Hold on. All right, sir. I see 8036.
Okay.
And which section you invite my attention to?
At the end of 8036, it says public records and reports
Yes, sir.
shall be admissible under paragraph 8 and shall not be admissible under this paragraph. Paragraph 8, capital Bravo, says,
You just learned that, didn't you?
says,
So proud of
I'm
yourself, huh?
smiling, I'm
So proud
patting
of
myself
yourself?
on the
Okay,
back.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Says matters observed pursuant to duty imposed by law, as to which matters there was a duty to report, excluding, however, against the accused in criminal proceedings, matters observed by police officers and other law enforcement personnel in connection with an investigation. It's specifically excluded 836 and 8038 capital Bravo.
Thank you, sir. Hold on.
This is so impressive. While Mr. Shard was stalling, Mr. Harvey found something he didn't know. This is such good lawyer work. These guys are so impressive. These guys are excellent, and that is why I did the new intro. I will play it again once we are done here. You have to wait for that one. I made a superhero song about the defense attorneys. I mean, when I get to Atlanta on August 14 or 15, I want to be in that courtroom if they have actual trial that day. If they don't, I just want to sit down and have a beer with Mr. Harvey. I really do. He is so impressive.
To take a look at. The court would invite counsel to take a look at Kamasuko again. We covered that last week. 362 Georgia appeals 276, 262 Georgia appeal 276. And this is another CAD report. And for that reason, in our coverage of that case, I will exclude the narrative section of this particular CAD report and otherwise admit states 285 Yankee over objection. All right. Anything else? Mr. Steele, did you rise as well? Did you want to?
Wait, what? He didn't give an explanation. He just excluded the narrative and allowed everything else without even giving a counter to Mr. Harvey's argument. Well, they have a week to perfect it, and which means Tuesday, unless they have some hearing on Monday or the end of this week, they will have a new argument about this ruling.
We heard on this issue.
I wanted to just ask for weigh in on 24-8-8038. So you've done that already?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes, sir.
So that is 8B. Also, Your Honor, we're going to discuss whether this goes back to the jury at a later time. Is that fair to say?
That's correct, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, all right. I'm going to give you all this back. Say you can redact that consistent with the court's instructions.
Oh, he's just confused about the argument.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if he's confused or annoyed about the argument. I would probably go with annoyed because he didn't actually have a counter argument towards Mr. Harvey. He just invited him to check this statute. Yeah, but if that statute only goes to 8 or whatever the number was, it might be an incorrect statute. Huh.
Is there anything else I need to cover with you all before we meet again on Tuesday, the 28th? Need to be here for 9:30 for an anticipated 10 o'clock start time. Mr. Steele? Yes, sir.
The thing is, what I emailed this morning, Your Honor, the state has Mr. Williams' like criminal history and driving history. I just want to alert the court that that's an exhibit, and I have objected to it on our email. I wanted to.
Which one are you talking? I'm sorry.
I emailed this morning. And the exhibit number.
Can you tell me what time you emailed that, sir?
Okay.
What now? Yeah. Okay, so
Your Honor, at 6:26 this morning, I addressed it to this honor. I said, "Good day to all." Then I skipped 2 lines. I said, "Your Honor."
Okay, I'll include that as the next court in order since we're discussing it. It references that there are arrest records, booking photos, driver's license, police runs for Mr. Williams, and same impermissibly places bad character in evidence, and he objects to this under 401.
What the cost of this is per day? Well, the lawyers accept Miss De Williams, who is making much less money. I would say the average is about $400 an hour per lawyer. And then you have the prosecution's team salary, you have the judge salary, you have everybody involved salary. Maybe not 100K, but maybe 50K a day.
402, 403, and 404A. And he asked to inquire about this when it's right. Is this witness going to refer to anything such as that?
No.
Okay, so it's not right quite yet. When is it going to be, when do you anticipate it becoming right for consideration through the witness that it's going to be testified to?
Judge, I'd have to know which specific exhibit, if Mr. Steele has that with handy. I believe that we have provided him exhibits with numbers on them. So if he could just let us know which exhibit. Okay, just, or even the number of the slide on the PowerPoint that we provided to him so that we could know exactly what, because generally speaking, we don't intend to get into, we wouldn't introduce anyone's criminal history. That's wrong. So anything else that he's objecting to, we'd need to know with more specificity what he's objecting to, since we have at least provided him a way to identify it for the record.
Okay. Mr. Steele, can you? Okay, yeah, all right, okay.
Sorry. Okay. So the state claims, no, we're not trying to get Mr. Williams' criminal record in. Mr. Steele says, oh, yes, you do. And I would assume Mr. Steele is correct. Somewhere hidden is Mr. Williams' speeding tickets.
I'm sure the state will correct me. When we're talking about identification of exhibits and things of that nature, we are working off information that was shared by Ms. Hilton, I believe now it would be 2 weeks ago on a Friday, either one Friday ago or 2 Fridays ago. But to my knowledge, none of those exhibits, the state has previously identified things in a PowerPoint, and we acknowledge that. But I don't believe that any of the stuff that was shared by Ms. Hilton has made its way into a PowerPoint with specific exhibit numbers. So that's where the disconnect is, because I know what Mr. Steele's talking about, but it hasn't been put in a PowerPoint form.
Oh, then that means it's not coming up. It's not coming up in the next week. We presented each week a PowerPoint of exhibits with our.
You've been
labeled.
lying before,
So
Ms. Love. You have been lying
that-
before.
Not only is it not right, I can't say without more specificity as to which exhibit or what he's talking about, who we're intending to introduce that piece of evidence through. I don't believe that his email this morning specifically. Okay, I see. Okay, I'm looking at now the one labeled, oh, okay. Hertz, rental car, and associated documents, that would have helped. So, Your Honor, we do intend to introduce records of Defendant Williams for multiple purposes. They are not coming up on Tuesday. They are likely not coming up on Wednesday. And so we will at least be able to provide to defense and to the court a labeled set of exhibits as we encounter them or as we approach the witness that will be introducing those things. But for various legal reasons, we will be introducing documents pertaining to Defendant Williams. We won't be introducing any criminal histories or anything like that. And I believe that we can probably speak more cohesively on any objections to these as we provide them to the defense.
Oh, it's not criminal history. It's just his speeding tickets and everything else. But it's not criminal history because we say so. I don't buy it.
It's in a labeled exhibit form.
First of all, because I believe you have no
so that we can address it for the record.
You've lied before. I don't trust you at all.
Descriptions given in the email.
You know how I know Miss Love is lying? Her lips are moving.
Can we do this the day prior or
yes.
At the conclusion of the day? If you just let me know so we can take a little bit of time to discuss that. If it's coming the next day, I can
absolutely
just do it a little earlier. If you just let me know that. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So Mr. Steele, we'll just stay this issue for the time being until the state raises that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, then unless y'all have anything else, I'll see you all on Tuesday, the 28th for 9:30, and we'll.
Yeah, Tuesday the 28th with the trial start at 10 a.m., which is 4 p.m. my time. As per usual, I'm starting to move over to recaps because that way I can condense things. I mean, today, or Monday, was almost 8 hours long, and I condensed it down to 3.5 hours. I think I did good. So give me the thumbs up on that, folks. And tomorrow, I will do an update on the Shane Kendall case. If you don't know that, that is another reason for you to hate Adrian Love. So we'll have an update on that. And on Friday, updates on both the Adelson case, the Delphi case, and maybe something else. I'm not sure yet. But Saturday will be Yodi Day and Serial Killer Saturday. So that is the next few dates on this channel. So welcome back tomorrow. I will put up the stream tomorrow afternoon my time, which is around lunch Eastern Standard Time. All right. Let's see here. Do I have anybody to send you over to? Who is... Oh, Recovery Addict is doing something. So we'll send you over to Recovery Addict. But before you leave, you need to hear my new intro. 6 Heroes Arise. It's about the defense lawyers.